चाओ चाओ दोस्तों, कैसे हो आप सब लोग। आई एम योर होस्ट परम, एज ऑलवेज द इन हाउस इंटरिस्टा, और मेरे साथ है अजय भाई, योर इन हाउस रोमानिस्टा। और आज हम एक स्पेशल वीडियो के लिए आज इधर गैदर हुए अजय भाई, बिकॉज हम इस सीजन के 2021 गेम्स खत्म हो गए। ऑब्वियसली वी आर रिकॉर्डिंग दिस ऑन अ संडे 18th ऑफ जनवरी। पार्मा जेनोआ जस्ट खत्म हुआ है। सो बट ऑफिशियली सब क्लब्स के लिए वो हाफ वे पॉइंट खत्म हो गया सीजन का। चाहे आप विंटर की टाइमिंग देखो, चाहे आप 19 गेम्स पकड़ो, चाहे आप वो पकड़ो जो पेंडिंग गेम्स थे जो सुपर कोपा खेले थे उसके लिए। द हाफ वे पॉइंट ऑफ द सेरिया सीजन फॉर द 25-26 सीजन इज ऑफिशियली ओवर अजय भाई, and we are about to do our mid-season review, mid-season report card. Obviously we will get into all of this, but how are you doing Ajay bhai? कैसा चल रहा है सब कुछ? Excited for this?
ऑल गुड ऑल गुड वेरी एक्साइटेड बिकॉज ये एक ऐसा मुकाम है जहाँ पे हम लोग देखते हैं वी गो बैक एंड सी हाउ द टीम्स हैव फेयर्ड फ्रॉम द स्टार्ट ऑफ द सीजन टिल द मिडवे पॉइंट. January transfer market active है परम. You could still see clubs make
Yes.
some moves and get in some
Yeah.
signings,
Yeah.
and that will shape up from now till the end of the season, which is very crucial. हम लोग January में परम, games are coming in fast and thick. European fixtures on the way from next week. 2 match days remaining in Europe. Serie A चालू है तो बहुत कुछ. The clubs have to do it all, and I think January will decide where some of these clubs will end up come end of the season.
Absolutely well said, very well said. Obviously before we get into it, इसका मैं आपको एक बार फॉर्मेट समझा देता हूँ कैसे करने वाले हम. We will be going through in the order of the Serie A standings top to bottom. So first से 20th तक इस ऑर्डर में जाएंगे. और सिंपल चीज है, हम एक 5 पिलर के बेसिस पे जज करेंगे एक क्लब का हाफ मिडवे पॉइंट ऑफ दिस सीजन. एक होगा एक्सपेक्टेशन वर्सेस रियलिटी. मतलब सिंपल चीज है, एज यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम द वर्डिंग इटसेल्फ, कि आपकी क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन थी और उस क्लब की क्या रियलिटी है अब तक. दूसरा कोचिंग कोचिंग आई मीन जो भी कोच है उनका, उसकी टैक्टिक्स, अजय भाई प्लेइंग स्टाइल, हाउ दे शेप अप, एंड हैज व्हाट डू वी मेक ऑफ इट, हैज इट बीन गुड, has it been bad, has it lived up to our expectations? And obviously you guys will let us know your thoughts in the comments on all of this, all these 5 pillars. ट्रांसफर्स, ऑब्वियसली अजय भाई आपने ट्रांसफर्स बोला, आपने जनवरी विंडो बोला. ट्रांसफर्स ऑब्वियसली आप जानते हो कितनी बड़ी चीज हो गई आजकल सोशल मीडिया के एज में. ट्रांसफर्स डेफिनेटली समथिंग विल बी जजिंग. एंड players की performance, who's been the standout player, flop, who has disappointed, who has not lived up to expectations, who's overperformed, unknown quantity. और ये पैरामीटर्स के बेसिस पे हम एक क्लब को ओवरऑल ग्रेड देंगे बेसिकली, चाहे वो लेट्स से ए हो, बी हो, जो भी है. सो विल बी गिविंग एन ओवरऑल ग्रेड. एंड रिमेंबर अगेन, these are the mid season ratings, these are not obviously full season ratings because there is a whole season left. So Ajay bhai, are we ready to go? Should I pull up the Serie A table?
Vamos, let's go.
वामोस डेफिनेटली. वामोस से याद आता है कार्लोस अल्काराज का, एंड ऑस्ट्रेलियन ओपन भी चालू हो गया है. ऑब्वियसली तो अगर आप टेनिस फैन हो तो आप ऑस्ट्रेलियन ओपन भी देख सकते हो. बट आई
मैं
होप अजय
मैं
भाई
वामोस
दिस. हाँ
मैंने वामोस बोला क्योंकि अभी कार्लोस क्वेस्टा वामोस वामोस
हाँ,
वामोस कर रहा था अगेंस्ट जेनोआ.
एग्जैक्टली. Yeah, Parma Genoa just खत्म हुआ है 0-0, and it was quite I mean, not the most exciting game I would say, but at least like a hard-fought game between both teams. But I hope Ajay bhai, is this table visible?
It is visible. It is
So
visible.
obviously ये Serie A के official website पे Serie A के standings है. Obviously Ajay bhai, you want to take the lead. If you want to ask me anything on Inter, it makes more sense that way. If you want to, since we're starting from the top. Uh,
Absolutely. Sitting very pretty at the top, Param. And
hmm,
amongst all the panelists, this was my prediction that Inter will win the
hmm,
Scudetto. No one
hmm,
else really was, backing Chivu. And in my opinion, Param, Chivu, of course, coming in is a major transformation. But that core of Inter was always there. This is a core that has won
hmm,
trophies, albeit not enough
hmm,
trophies. One can
hmm,
argue under Inzaghi, बट जो
hmm,
उनका एक सिस्टम है, एक डायनामिक है, एक टीम
hmm,
केमिस्ट्री है,
hmm,
that was always existent. And you saw थोड़ा सा glimpses in the club world
hmm,
cup, but तब
hmm,
तक that I would still consider as last season. But then
hmm,
you have the likes of Pio Esposito, Boni coming in to
hmm,
refresh that attack. You always knew that Inter were going to be there or thereabouts, but in my opinion, Param, they have been really good, and they deservedly are leading the Serie A table. तेरे क्या
hmm.
विचार है as an Interista, as a fan, from Inter's perspective?
यार मैं ऑब्वियसली जैसे हमने बोला था फॉर्मेट को स्टिक करके जितना बेस्ट जवाब दे सकूं दे दूंगा ऑब्वियसली. सो अगर मैं बात करूं एक्सपेक्टेशन वर्सेस रियलिटी की, ऑब्वियसली मैंने बोला था कि एक्सपेक्टेशंस थोड़े कम रखने चाहिए, बिकॉज एट द टाइम व्हेन ही केम इन उसने सिर्फ 13, उसके पास सिर्फ क्रिस्टियन कीवू के पास सिर्फ 13 गेम्स का एक्सपीरियंस था अजय भाई. आई मीन आई एम श्योर पीपल आर बोर्ड ऑफ मी सेइंग दैट सेम लाइन अगेन एंड अगेन, बट या दैट वाज द रियलिटी. एंड आपने एक चीज बराबर बोली, कोर ज्यादा बदला नहीं है टीम का, आप वही सिस्टम खेलते हो, आप वही प्रिंसिपल्स के साथ खेलते हो. कीवू ने क्या किया है, यू कैन, अगर मैं प्रीमियर लीग फैन के लिए कंपैरिजन दूं, जो लास्ट सीजन स्लॉट ने किया था, राइट, ही केम इन, ही ओनली मेड अ फ्यू ट्वीक्स, he made some like
Perfect.
few shifts. Yeah, right, he made a few shifts, he did not change the overall system, which he's done this season. So again, coming back to the point, क्रिस्टियन कीवू ने थोड़े tweaks किए उसको. Did he want to make a major shift when he came in? Absolutely yes. अगर आप जानते हो, you were looking to sign certain profiles, Ederson, Manu Kone, Lukman. There were a lot of things he wanted to change. He wanted to more concretely shift to this 3-4-2-1, 3-4-1-2. बट उसको पता था वो जो तीन प्रोफाइल उसको मिले नहीं, तो उसके बाद उसको इसी चीज पे बिल्ड करना पड़ेगा. He still did get a lot of decent players in there. Like obviously उसको पार्मा से एंजियोन बॉनी मिला, जो उसका उसके साथ खेल चुका था. Obviously you still had you had a good base, right? Luis Enrique came in, obviously वो अभी भी settle in हो रहा है with the Dumfries injury, whatnot. But again, expectation versus reality. I'll come to the transfers. Expectation was amongst the majority of the fan base की चलो हाँ ये सीजन थोड़ा बैक ट्रैक करेंगे, टॉप 4 के लड़ाई में रहेंगे, टॉप 4 क्वालिफिकेशन लाएंगे, राउंड ऑफ 16 ऑफ द चैंपियंस लीग, विच इज स्टिल टू बी डिटरमिन्ड ऑब्वियसली. वो कॉपा इटालिया में थोड़ा अच्छा कर लो, एंड देन दैट इज योर सीजन टू बिल्ड ऑन फॉर द सीजन्स टू कम. And he will survive the job, he will grow with the job because he's a young coach. So he has definitely exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
I was never as negative as some of the interists you have seen online. मैं वो बोलना चाह रहा हूँ, again that's their opinion, nothing wrong with it. But मैं थोड़ा surprised maybe I am, because देखो अजय, आप जानते हो none of these players, right? I mean they've played 2 Champions League finals now, most of them. They can easily look at Q and say, भाई मैं इसको respect क्यों करूँ? Why should we respect this guy who's barely coached in
Right.
in his career? But again, what has he done? He's brought out that inter legend aspect very well. Like उसने वो, like you know, कभी कभी हम लोग बोलते हैं अगर ये क्लब लेजेंड था, ये आके कोच करेगा तो अच्छा कोच करेगा, but a lot of the times this doesn't work out.
Yeah.
As of today, as of 18th January 2026, Chivu has made that count, I would say. Uski man
Right.
management skills, Ajay Bhai, he's very bold. He doesn't shy away. He likes to crack a joke or two in the media, likes to take it, you know, hit back at them. He's not like Inzaghi, who kind of hides behind comments or gives that same politically correct answer. He's a bit better in handling these players, because अगर आप players के interview देखो, they kind of suggest that Zielinski, DiMarco बार-बार बोलता है I get to play more than 60 minutes. So kind of taking jabs at Simone Inzaghi here and there. So point is, उसको पता है कि ये लोगों को कैसे handle करना है. He's not just a friend, but he knows how to maintain that authoritative line as well. So definitely expectation versus reality में he's exceeded expectations. And again Ajay भाई, convincingly beating the mid table to bottom table teams. आप हमने डिस्कस किया, yes, we have a bad record against the big teams, and that is something that needs to change and has to improve. But against the smaller and mid table clubs, ये इंजागी इन गेम्स में फंबल होता था. But yesterday also you saw, right, we beat Udinese. It was a tough game, but look at the goal Lautaro scored. So उसका ओवरऑल मैनेजमेंट, बेंच को कैसे यूज कर रहा है वो. He's rotating more than Simone Inzaghi. He's giving others confidence. Zielinski is that example, right? The way he's brought things out of Zielinski. Look at how good of a form he is in. So Chivu has exceeded expectations, has done a good job. More power to him, and I can only hope he lifts the Scudetto come end of the season.
What about your key players and transfer grade and just a rating? मतलब A to F अगर मैं बोलूँ, या A to D बोलूँ, A plus, A minus, B plus, B, A to D पे तेरा what will be your eventual grade?
See, just quickly touching upon the other things, right? Look, Akanji, आपको याद है मेरे को बहुत doubts थे Akanji पे, right? Like when he came in with the sideways move to Pavard, I called it because I thought Pavard को जाने देना was a bit weird. Obviously उसके off pitch issues थे, जो भी थे, minor जो भी था, but Akanji has been fantastic. Andy Diouf obviously थोड़ा kind of mystery because he's still adapting. He's done all right to decent. Can't really judge him. लुइस एनरिके पे सबसे ज्यादा चर्चा होती है इंटर फैन बेस पे, बिकॉज वेरी लो ऑन कॉन्फिडेंस व्हेन ही केम इन, एंड ही इज अ वेरी कॉन्फिडेंस ओरिएंटेड प्लेयर. ये डेजर्बी ने भी बोला है, एंड टू गेट हिम दैट कॉन्फिडेंस इट टेक्स अ लॉट ऑफ एफर्ट, बट ही स्टार्टेड टू पुट इन दैट स्टेबल डिस्प्ले. नॉट अ नीडल मूवर येट, बट स्टिल स्टेबल डिस्प्ले डाल रहा है, फिर भी ठीक है. again just a couple of signings. Bonny, fantastic. You आपने देखा है खुद अजय, Bonny is just, his attitude is so top notch. I just love how he plays. Sucic again thoda off late in the last few games. He's been thoda down, but again I'm sure he's a talent that will grow. He's a fantastic talent. So ट्रांसफर बिजनेस वाइज अच्छा किया है, बट जैसे मैंने बोला था, यू कुड हैव डन मोर. ओक ट्री, लाइक मेरे आपको पता है, मैंने बोला था वी नीडेड दैट प्रेस रेजिस्टेंट मिडफील्डर. We still needed a center back, and I still know we need a center back. So these things are evident more as you go deep into the season. So individual grade नहीं दे रहा हूँ क्योंकि मैं overall grade देने वाला हूँ. But again, as I said, overall there's some things that could have been done more. But overall, I'm not unhappy with the transfer business. I've seen a lot of complaints over it. Lastly, coming to key players, Akanji एक, Zielinski जो turn around किया जाए, I just spoke of it. I don't need to say anything more. Fantastic. Lautaro, देखो यार, Lautaro को ना इंटर फैन बेस में बहुत क्रिटिसिज्म मिलता है अजय भाई. Some people say अरे बेच दो. I need to say, like, Ajay bhai, if you put it into context, the symbol he has become for this Inter. Look, he's about to become top 3 top scorers of all time in the Serie A for Inter. And that's, Ajay bhai, ये आसानी से नहीं होता है. Like, you know the kind of, he started out as a center back in his career. He's become a striker. And while he does not put in like एकदम बड़े numbers, उसका जो overall gameplay आपने देखा, his technical ability, his persistence, that उसका नाम El Toro क्यों है? Literally plays like a bull, you know, he literally fights for everything. So him just showing up week in week out, despite, and he's always available. Ajay bhai, वो Champions League के run up में he played injured. Like, players don't do this. He was playing with half his body fit. So last season, of course. So he has been fine, but there are players I expected more from. As I close this on Inter, I expected more from certain players, like, let's say, Barella का बहुत conversation है. You and me have discussed this a lot. वो burnout हो गया. It's quite evident. He's burning out, and I think the future for Barella is he's the Hakan replacement. He will be the number 6 at Inter is what I feel should happen, because he's burning out. Bastoni also, he's been fantastic, but he's not been the Bastoni we know. Like, वो easily defensive duels एक दो इधर उधर हार जा रहा है. DiMarco again has been fantastic. Look, sorry I didn't mention him, but we've discussed this, right? DiMarco, brilliant. He's found his old self back. Sommer has been very disappointing. बहुत easy fumbles कर रहा है. Start of the season, you saw it, and you have just seen regression in these older players थोड़ा. So that is evident. Mkhitaryan not the same, but Pio Esposito, Bonny, fine with them, no issues there. Dumfries injured हुआ है, so I can't really fully judge his season, but he's been decent. Not his prime level, but he's been decent. So Hakan also picked up as the season went on. So overall, my point is, if I had to grade all these factors, right? Basis all these factors, I would give an A. I would give an A. And मेरे को आप भी बोलो, because I think only my opinion doesn't.
मेरे को I feel that if Inter finish in the top 8 of the Champions League, right, with Arsenal and Dortmund fixtures coming in, it would be A plus, because you achieved 2 objectives. First is you're avoiding those 2 extra games by finishing top 8 in the Champions League, and B, also you're leading Serie A in a coach's debut season for the club, and with a squad that was mentally and physically drained out at the end of the season. So to see them coming back into the fore and fighting for titles again, that itself, मेरे हिसाब से, even now I think it's an A plus grade for me at this point of time.
Fair. Also, just quickly, उसने जो जैसे आपने बोला चैंपियंस लीग के फाइनल के बाद जैसे अपलिफ्ट किया इस टीम को, अजय भाई, it's not easy. That Club World Cup, many said it was a negative, but I feel it was the right platform to kind of lose that match against Fluminense, and उसको उसपे स्टॉक मिला कि हाँ भाई, मेरे को इनके साथ बहुत काम करना है, because and it still shows, अजय भाई, like, we're not fully recovered from that defeat, okay, वो दिखता है, but to uplift, I don't, like, ask me this final thing as I close this, I would say, if Simone Inzaghi was still the coach, right, I'm not dissing him, I'm just saying, if Simone Inzaghi was still the coach, I don't think he would have been able to uplift these guys as much as Chivu, because I think you need these fresh faces at times to come in, right? जैसे Pep बोलता है मुझे नए players चाहिए ये वो. So that's my rating, A. Do you guys agree in the comments, or do you guys think it should be A plus or it should be lower? Let me know in the comments. Ajay bhai, moving on, we'll go to second place in the standings. AC Milan, of course. आज obviously उनका आजकल, sorry match, I've missed the date, but आज they'll be playing.
play your favorite manager's team. Let me
Exactly. And the one time I would expect him to do something, obviously he's not going to do something. But all jokes aside, AC Milan sits second with 43 points yet to play tonight, as we just said. And Ajay bhai, मैं आपसे चालू करता हूँ ये आप take over. We can maybe alternate.
I think
But हाँ,
I think A plus दे दे भाई, इनको A plus ही दे
A
दे, because
plus.
they have exceeded. See, to be very honest, Milan का goal would be to get back into the Champions League. The
Hmm.
Scudetto, they're in contention because Allegri is a master tactician.
Hmm.
He can get the best out of these players, and see
Hmm.
they're not playing, the European games, which we have seen is an advantage. Just
Hmm.
look at last season with Conte and Napoli. So
Hmm.
ये तीन चीजों के कारण Milan
Hmm.
are in a Scudetto race for
Hmm.
sure. But even if they don't win the Scudetto, if they get back to the Champions League, it is an A plus season for them, because that, I think, is what Allegri set out to do from day one.
Hmm.
And he has revived the likes of Pulisic.
Hmm.
He's obviously brought in his son Adrian Rabiot and Mike Monyon, who was
Yeah, he's
not
been
his
clutch.
not at his best last season, or last 2 seasons. He's come back to being clutch, like you mentioned. So ye jo hai, the way that Allegri man manages some of these players, even like Salamakers, and then
Hmm.
you have Bartesaghi coming in, from their Primavera. So he's really brought on that kind of that fighting spirit that Allegri sides are very famous for. So I'm not surprised. I think a lot of us at the start of the season were putting Milan to be, like, in the shout for the Scudetto and definite top
Hmm.
four finish, and it's they're there. So overall, अगर आप मेरे को पूछोगे with regards to the expectation, reality, key players, everything, it's an A plus in my book.
A plus. Then I think that is fair. अगर हम expect वो सब parameters के हिसाब से देखे, right? Expectation, अगर आप मिलान फैंस को भी ज्यादा पूछो, चिंतन भाई usually says कि उन्हें he still thinks top four is a good season, which is fair because they did miss out on the Champions League after all. So expectation है top four
They
की
missed
और
out on
reality.
Europe completely.
Yeah, exactly. They missed out on Europe, right? So and reality भी ये है कि वो लोग है and they're obviously kind of exceeding it because they're in a way they're in the title race just like Napoli are. So the point is, yes, they're doing well on that front. A plus I think overall is a fair grade. Maybe अगर किसी को काटना है किधर आप काट सकते हो कोपा इटालिया के लिए because look, at the end of the day these things count. I feel personally जब इंटर जीत रही थी, right, अजय भाई, those winning those Coppa Italia super copas kind of builds your confidence, right? It gives you that winning mentality to kind of go that
Yeah,
extra distance in the Champions League and whatnot and give you more self-belief. And we know
yeah,
AC Milan's history with the Coppa Italia has not been great. 2003, right, the last time they ever won it. So matlab, it's not been great, but I feel किया जा सकता था. Now that they did not have any European competition, they could have done slightly better, is my opinion at least.
yeah,
But still, I feel A plus is fair, as you said, because अगर आप देखो वो लोग किधर है, like how Allegri has kind of revitalized the team. जो as a club AC Milan हम जानते हैं वो लोग का management isn't the greatest. जेरी कार्डिनाले पे doubts होते हैं, फुरलानी पे doubts होते हैं, Zlatan पे doubts होते हैं, signings are questionable, which you can still do that to an extent. Like ठीक है, Nkunku is doing an all right job, but for the sum they paid for him, you can say he can do much. Like, there's more expected, right? But again,
yeah,
spending so much on an injury-prone player, was that ever justified?
yeah.
Time will tell us if he does better. So again, if I just एक मिनट मैं ना, I think only this particular window is sharing. I missed that with the Inter thing as well. Just let me pull it up again. But my point being, expectation versus reality department, I think they've done as what we've expected, or what even Milan fans would expect of. We look at transfers quickly. Is this visible now?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Is there? Yeah. So again, we said that maybe like someone like a Coney De Winter, अभी तक वो fully figure out नहीं उसको कैसे use करना है. We thought ज्यादा use होगा. Pervis Estupinian also, जब आपने देखा है थोड़ा nervous
Flop,
लगता है खेलते समय.
flop.
Yeah, he's Modric has been the signing of the season, right? Like the best player. Like I feel.
Wait, I think it's Rabiot. Rabiot has been the signing of the season. Allegri
fair,
and his
fair.
son, yeah, they have been clutch.
Fair. Allegri and his son. That is fair. That is more than fair. Because yeah, I mean, to be fair, he has stepped up and delivered. Samuel Enici obviously वो सीखेगा. मतलब he's just come in. He has Modric ahead of him. He will learn all these things. He'll learn from them. I feel अगर हम players की बात करें, generally performance wise, obviously there has been a disappointment from someone like a Santi Jimenez because I mean How long have been they waiting for this guy to step up overall? I'm just talking
Yeah.
about the overall performance wise, and it's just not clicking. Best player definitely again हमने Rabiot बोला, but Pulisic, I mean, apart from his particular fitness issues here and there, he's been killing it. In Kunku, I mean, he's been put in different pairings and he's made it work. Rafael Leao भी decent कर रहा है, I would say, and yeah, generally speaking, these are the players that have done well. But signing wise, again, you could say that obviously certain signings could do better. Again, sorry, I need to give a shout out to Barthez because he's been fantastic. Like in that,
Superb.
एग्जैक्टली बार्तेस आगी अगेन अच्छा है कि एक इटालियन यंगस्टर फाइनली अच्छा कर रहा है एंड दैट इज गुड टू सी सालामैकर जैसे आपने बोला हैज बीन यूजुअल फोफाना हैज बीन वेरी कंफ्यूजिंग अजय भाई लाइक ऑन
He's
एंड
been
ऑफ
bad.
ऑन एंड ऑफ
Let's be straight up forward here. He's
yeah
been
he's
bad.
not yeah technically तो obviously उससे आप ज्यादा एक्सपेक्टेशन रख ही सकते हैं and he's kind of not helped his case and basically I think where we stand with AC Milan is कि हम सब जानते just like AC Milan fans they do need a few more signings they do need a center back they do need again striker wise they did sign Fulkrug but उसका भी वो weird toe injury हो गया but he's still kind of trying to play through it and he's a good player but Ajay bhai you know that it's a gamble because उसकी body के fitness के issues है then they still need kind of a midfielder so there are things to be sorted जो एक सीजन में नहीं होती अजय भाई एंड आप जानते हो अलेग्री टिपिकल उसका कॉर्टोमूसो फैशन में पुश करेगा एंड तक इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू बी इजी टू राइट देम ऑफ they will be on Inter or Napoli's tail, or they will probably be leading the charge at some point as well. They'll be in the Scudetto race, and if I think we all agree कि अगर अजय भाई आपका फाइनल ग्रेड है A+ राइट इसके बेसिस पे
Yeah.
I will also stick to that. Let's move to third place Napoli जो कल ही सासुओलो को 1-0 हरा चुके हैं एक क्लोज मार्जिन में but at least they won after 3 draws. क्या बोलते हो अजय भाई एक्सपेक्टेशन
देखो
वर्सेस
मेरे को
रियलिटी
मेरे को यहाँ पे आई हैव समथिंग प्रो नापोली हियर. Napoli of the past, Conte teams of the past would have crumbled with the kind of wavy form that they've had. Okay, what I mean to say is that there was a period where you rightly said they had 3 draws and now they picked up a win. If you see at the start, Param, there were a few games where they should have drawn or lost, but they either managed to find a win or from a losing situation they managed to find an equalizer. ये है ना Napoli teams of the past used to not do. And Conte, to be fair, with whatever he's had, he still managed to keep Napoli in the shout for challenging for the Scudetto. What I'm trying to say is that I see this Napoli team as a more mature team. I see McTominay now after his first season taking that leadership onus, showing that maturity, and trying to kind of lead from the front, so as to say. Or this Napoli team will be there fighting for the Scudetto till the end. That is my perspective before we get into the ratings and grades and everything. But I just see that this Conte effect has really been imbibed by this Napoli players. और उन लोग अभी जैसे वानिया विलेंकोविच साविच है परम इतने मैचेस में ही saved their butts, he saved किया उसने crucial saves किया है. Or you have Højlund stepping up when required, or you have McTominay stepping up when required. So in these key moments they have definitely done well. And मेरे हिसाब से this Napoli team would be kind of till match 38 you can't rule them out.
Obviously you can't rule them out but अगर मैं expectation versus reality पे आऊँ very quickly I think थोड़ा और था कि maybe now they're 6 points behind right of Inter on par with the same number of games. You would say maybe they should be maybe only 2 or 3 points behind or even at the top ahead of Inter is what we can probably say. Champions League definitely a disappointment.
Champions League भूल जा.
I mean if they got knocked out Conte का वही favorite zone आ जाएगा one competition. Coppa Italia again disappointing. What can you say? So again the complete aspect of Napoli which I thought maybe would come through this season अब तक वो नहीं आया है. Performance wise जैसे आपने बोला they've survived in those kind of games where they could have lost, games they should have drawn, they've come through games where they could have won, they've drawn. वो थोड़ा hot and cold रहा है but mostly for the better part largely they've done better. अभी एक हमने डिस्कस किया था largely कि there was a confusion. Conte still figuring out, not confusion but Conte juggling between 4-3-3, 3-5-2. Finally उसने 3-4-2-1 लॉक किया जिसमें नेरेज स्टारिंग he's doing a fantastic job and they've had a lot of absences. आप जानते हो लुकाकू का अभी भी डाउट है वो कब रिटर्न करेगा. अंगीसा इंजर्ड था, De Bruyne is still out, McTominay is playing well. uh, they still have injuries. I think Politano got injured the other day along with Rachmani against Sassuolo yesterday. But again, Rachmani has been fantastic. Buongiorno not done what we expected so far. Ajay Bhai obviously not lived up to that. But point being, coming back to the thing is कि expectation versus reality के sense में I feel थोड़ा better कर सकते थे. But grade wise भी मैं उन्हें A दे सकता हूँ. At least I would give them an overall A, explaining my reasoning being because अगर मैं transfers भी देखूँ, right, अगर मैं quickly just हॉयलैंड अगेन जब हमने बात की, इज बीन वेरी गुड ऑफ लेट. वो कंटिन्यूस को काइंड ऑफ फिगर आउट किया मेरे को उसको कैसे उसको हाफ स्पेसेस में यूज करना है. एल्मास हैज बीन दैट गुड काइंड ऑफ हैंडी यूटिलिटी प्लेयर एवर सिंस लीविंग ही कम बैक. Gutierrez has not really clicked. आपने बोला Vanya has been brilliant. Like there's no two ways about it. He'll always be in that conversation for the best goalkeeper in the league. And वो कितने penalties बचाता है अजय भाई, it's just insane. And Luka flop. हम बोलते हैं कि Luka is the flop of the season across the whole table, like across all 20 teams. 35 million, absolutely nothing. Apparently he's linked with Besiktas, Al Hilal, but that's also not materializing. The Boykeva has been all right. मतलब अजय भाई अगर आप वो भी देखो quickly, just Marianucci, unfortunately, I thought he would lock down a spot at Napoli, but there's a loan spell being discussed for him at Cremonese or something. अगर मैं player wise भी quickly देखूं, who has performed well, who has not performed well, right? We discussed this. I think you can safely say McTominay is the best player. There's no two ways about it. David Neres, Noah Lang, Ajay bhai, any 2 cents on him because obviously
he's a weird guy to rate. No, I mean, starts fighting with Conte. He's about to leave. Then he comes back, starts performing,
and then again.
So what's weird, eh? But I think this is what everyone expected of Noah Lang. So it's not a surprise, like really.
Yeah.
But when he's been good for them, Param, he's been really good for them.
Yeah, I mean it's been a very rare occurrence. I think वो जाएगा. मेरे को लग तो नहीं रहा है. But Lobotka also scored the winning goal yesterday. Spinazzola has been good. But again, I mean Juan Jesus also, like we live in a year where Juan Jesus kind of outperforms Buongiorno. And वही मैं उस पैनल में था कि Buongiorno kind of has been disappointing because Ajay bhai, the injuries have taken a toll on the guy. And we thought he would be like he would continue that path which he continued at Torino, and that has not been the case. Let's see from an Italian perspective, maybe he will. Di Lorenzo, Ajay bhai, आपको कुछ बोलना है इस पे because
मेरे को कुछ बोलना ही नहीं है वो बंदे के बारे में. But yeah, I mean with Di Lorenzo, with Juan Jesus, with a revitalized Spinazzola also, you can say they've been doing fairly well, Param. At least in the league they've been doing fairly well. यूरोप की बात करें तो भाई वो तो अलग ही
exactly. So now my question for you as I close Napoli and get to an overall grade, considering how much he spent, considering उसने वो जो अपना famous quote बोला 15 million per player is 150 million, whatever, that equated to where they stand in the league, what they did in the Coppa Italia, winning the Super Coppa, and what they've done in the Champions League. What's your grade? I would give an A, mainly focusing on Serie A because that's our focus here. But क्या दोगे आप अगर आपको?
I think I would still give an A minus to them because वो Champions League qualification is still in their hands. But if they're knocked out of the Champions League, then Param, that becomes a B minus, like literally, because with this team squad and representing Italy, as champions and getting knocked out of the group stages is embarrassing. Like
actually. You're right, and I think maybe अपना grade A minus पे change कर रहा हूँ because I can't. It's very, now that I consider all competitions, I cannot give Napoli the same grade as Inter with all due respect. Leaving my bias aside, A minus. Roma, Ajay bhai, your love. इसके लिए तो मेरे को आपको ही देना है पूरा फ्लोर. आप बात कर लो. AS Roma, आप लोग obviously top of the table थे, and obviously it's not easy to keep up here. It's Gasparini's first season. And you're still, it's not like you all have suddenly disappeared. You win your next game, you're 42 points. It's not like you all have just disappeared. Your goal has always been the top 4. What do you think?
I think it's safe to say that we are on target, with regards to the initial goal, which is, a return to the Champions League. जो तूने बात बोले बहुत ही अहम बात है. लोग भूल जाते हैं कि ये गैस्परिनी का पहला सीजन क्या परम, उसके ये पहले 5 महीने क्लब में. तो Gasparini has been brought in with a long-term vision by the Friedkin management, and you see that you know, he's been kind of adapting to life in Rome as well. मेरे
Hmm.
लिए as a Roma fan from the outside, what I like is Ranieri is there in between the Friedkins and Gasperini, keeping things sane.
Hmm.
Having you know, said that, the performances have been a bit hot and cold. I see that there is a defensive solidity now under
Hmm.
Gasperini,
Hmm. Hmm.
but we miss far too many chances. We don't kind of
Hmm.
like, you know, take our chances. We have a horrible record against the, you know,
We
top six. You
just to
know,
cut you off, we can relate to that because we stand first in the league for that. But I can relate to
बिल्कुल
you on
बिल्कुल
that.
बिल्कुल. And you see that, like, you know, Inter and Roma were the two teams without a draw. Inter now getting a draw. Roma still, you know, with only wins and losses, no draw. So it's been
Yeah,
very extreme on
yeah,
both ends. So I think you know, we need this as an acclimatization period. Um, but Param, the goal the goal has to be top four. कैसे भी
yeah.
करके, and we are in a proper fist fight with UA, and it's very difficult because when that UA juggernaut starts going
Mm,
with
mm,
Spalletti,
mm,
it already
mm.
has begun, and Roma have a very good opportunity tonight to go 3 points ahead of UA. We already
Mm.
lost one game to them. It's very important we win the next one because in Serie A head to head matters, not goal difference. So
Yeah.
ये बहुत जो सेकंड फेज है बहुत क्रूशियल है गैस्परिनी के लिए. थोड़े signings have not worked out.
Mm.
If you could just pull the signings,
Yes.
the Premier League signings have been awful. Evan Ferguson, okay, he's been slowly coming into it, but Leon Bailey and Simicas have been outrageously bad.
Mm.
Let's see how Donald Malen and Robinho was brought in, you know, in
Mm.
January to
Mm.
boost the attacking department for Gasperini. Let's see how that works out. But
Mm.
otherwise, the likes of Ziolkowski is one for the future. Wesley
Mm.
has been excellent, probably the
Yeah,
signing
Wesley
of the
Wesley has been, if we were to make like a halfway team of the season, he definitely has to be in there.
100%.
Like,
Even El Ainoui, like just before going to the
yeah.
AFCON, El Ainoui was coming to that, you know, four.
Mm.
He was really doing well with Manu Kone in midfield. So I think overall, some signings have been a hit, whereas some signings have been a complete miss. And
Mm.
before I get your thoughts, Param, if you had to give, you know, ask me for a very non-biased grade, I would put it as a B plus.
Mm.
Only B plus, in the sense that we are still there in the top four at this point of time. If we were even fifth or sixth, then it would be like
Mm.
edging towards
Mm.
C at this
Mm.
point of time.
I would give it an A माइनस. मेरा मेरा अगेन मैं सब फैक्टर्स ये कर रहा हूँ, कंपाइल करके अपने जो पिलर्स है उसके बेसिस पे बोल रहा हूँ. एक्सपेक्टेशन वर्सेस रियलिटी आपने स्टार्ट से मेरे लिए ऑब्वियसली एक्सीड किया बिकॉज आई डिडंट थिंक रोमा वुड बी टॉप स्पॉट. आई विल बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट विद यू. लाइक दिस इज नॉट आउट ऑफ डिसरिस्पेक्ट और एनीथिंग. आई जैसे आपने स्टार्ट किया सीजन, अगर आप सोचो अगर आप वैसे स्टार्ट नहीं करते सीजन तो you all would have been further kind of, I'm saying
Below,
the
yeah.
most obvious thing out there, but you all would have been below UA is the fact
Yeah,
basically, and
yeah,
then
yeah,
catching up to UA is never easy regardless of how much
yeah,
of a difficulty they are in. हमने ये देखा है ट्रेंड में कि वो लोग टॉप फोर बाहर होके भी कैसे ना कैसे क्लॉक करके पहुंच जाते हैं इवेंचुअली टॉप फोर में. यू नो दिस,
yeah,
एंड देयर इज ऑलवेज अ पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ दैट, राइट? इवन इफ दे लॉस्ट
yeah,
yesterday. My point is, you all started out very well. Gasperini implemented his philosophy very early on, जो click कर रहा था even with the 1-0 wins. Did Roma look perfect on the pitch? No, but that's not something one should expect because defensive transitions में आप देख रहे थे, आप लोग chances create concede कर रहे थे, but you all just managed to save yourselves and grind out that win. But that's testament to Gasperini's work because उसने किया, वो उसने mentality, वो kind of bulldog fighting mentality जो वेस्ली में दिखती है, जो कोने में दिखती है, उसने इंस्टिल की.
yeah,
जैसे आपने बोला एक्सक्यूज मी, जैसे आपने बोला एवन फर्ग्यूसन स्टार्टेड आउट वेल. डॉविक का भी एक ऐसा फेज लगा, वो करेगा, बट देन बोथ फिजल्ड आउट. और ऐसा
yeah,
लग रहा है अजय भाई कि आप लोग गैस्परिनी नाउ इज स्टार्टिंग टू प्रेफर नॉन नेचुरल स्ट्राइकर्स. जैसे आप साइनिंग्स जैसे आप देख रहे हो अभी, अगर आप डोनियल मालन देखो, रॉबिन्यो वाज फिर भी अलग है, बट अगेन यू नो ही इज अ रॉ प्रोफाइल. बट ऐसा
raw,
लग रहा
yeah,
है मे बी गैस्परिनी इज एमिंग टू नॉट हैव अ नेचुरल लाइन अप देयर. लेट्स सी. बट एक्सपेक्टेशन रियलिटी वाइज यू ऑल हैव kind of exceeded my expectations given how you started. You being in the top four fight is something I expected, but still I would
yeah,
say exceeded expectations. कोच और स्टाइल हमने बात की, अपने गैस्परिनी ने बोला वो काइंड ऑफ थोड़ा हाई इंटेंस प्ले बट स्टिल ट्राइंग टू
yeah,
balance it between two competitions has not been easy. He's managed it very well using that right side with Wesley bombing and just how he uses Manu Kone in that industrious role, just a perfect kind of player for him. अगेन आपका ओपिनियन इस पे मुझे तो, आपके लिए कौन की प्लेयर्स रहे और आपके लिए कौन डिसअपॉइंट, लाइक सिमिकास आपने बोला डिसअपॉइंटिंग पार्ट, बट आपके लिए वो एक
Really disappointing. And
या
to some extent, even Dybala has been disappointing, Param.
या
He's
या
been
या
he's,
या
he's been quite disappointing
या
because you expect so much of Paulo Dybala, but I think for the first time, it's safe to say that we are seeing him fade away.
या
It's as a fan, like as a football fan, you feel bad because Dybala
या
is there giving out his 100%. It's not like he is
या
less committed or anything, but it's just that thoda sa spark nahi hai. But on that same breath, you see Matthias Sule. He has stepped up
या यो
and
फैंटास्टिक
been
फैंटास्टिक
key, very, very key for Roma. He's been linking up with Wesley so well, and because Simicas has been absolute ass, and Angelino has been injured, so Gasperini is forced to play Wesley on the left and Zeki Celik on the right.
या
जो मैं
या
इतना प्रेफर नहीं करता हूँ Zeki Celik को, but
उसने वो
अभी क्या
मेसी
बोले
ड्रिबल किया था ना रिसेंटली, व्हिच लेड टू अ गोल.
वो करता है, मतलब Zeki Celik is a player that can do like a Messi-esque dribble and then probably make an error like I don't know, like a Jonathan Woodgate error after that. He is that enigma. But yeah, I mean Sole and Wesley, I think standout players. Disappointment में obviously Bailey हो गया, Simicas हो गया, थोड़ा सा Dybala, strikers not getting enough goals,
या
and
या
personally I don't want to be very harsh, but Miles Villar has not been the Villar of last season, and
या ऑफ कोर्स,
he has set his
दैट्स
target
लाइक
so
अगर
high.
या या
Yeah,
सॉरी गो अहेड.
no, he set his standard so high. I'm
या
expecting more out of him, but he's been struggling thoda sa. I think he just needs a break or so, and maybe a Gasperini juice का एक refill चाहिए. He should be good to go again.
But lastly बोलूंगा, ट्रांसफर वाइज हम जानते हैं कि फॉर अ फर्स्ट वन विद गैस्पेरिनी इट हैज बीन डिसेंट, बिकॉज गैस्पेरिनी आउटस्पोकन रहा है, ही इज नॉट बीन एंटायरली हैप्पी विद हाउ रोमा हैव, बट दैट्स टिपिकल गैस्पेरिनी. जब चीजें स्लो जाती है, जब चीजें उसको जो एग्जैक्टली जो नहीं चाहिए मिलता है वो करता है,
Yeah,
बिकॉज काइंड ऑफ ही डज नॉट फुली अग्री विद रिकी मसारा एट द टॉप. बट देखो,
yeah,
व्हेन ही chose this job, he knew what he was signing up for, is always what I'll say. हम जानते
yeah,
हैं रोमा का सेटलमेंट अग्रीमेंट है कमिंग समर भी, so he should be ready if someone like a Manu Kone is to be sold or someone
yeah,
else to be
yeah,
sold. He has to be prepared. So my point is, Roma's transfer business always has to be judged with context, and Gasperini has to mentally gear up for it before he complains. Your overall
yeah.
grade, Ajay Bhai, finally, is it a B plus or I'll keep it
It's B minus only at this point of
B
time. I'll
minus?
keep it
Okay,
to
B minus.
yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
I
Being
would
a
say
bit
A
harsh,
minus. हाँ
because we got knocked out of the Copa Italia.
Sorry, Coppa in the Europa League. Yeah. And again, you faced your same arch nemesis Torino in a few hours, who
Torino is our
Gasperini.
Sassuolo.
Yeah, because Gasperini just cannot beat Baroni, and this is weird, right? Because आपके पास chance है आज 3 point clear Juventus के जाने का, और आप लोग टोरिनो को खेल रहे हो. So that's not good news. But yeah, I think maybe then I'll also change my grade. I'm just thinking maybe B plus is what I'll keep. If
Fair.
I'll keep it as B plus. I won't be as harsh. I feel B plus is fair in my opinion. Juventus, अजय अगला है. Juventus कल ही हारे कैलियरी से, obviously 1-0. Mazzitelli winner, but Spalletti. I mean, we know there have been two sides to this Juve.
Yeah,
Simple. आपसे start करता हूँ मैं. एक था Tudor, whatever Tudor spell was, mini spell, and now we have Mahatma Gandhi, Luciano Spalletti, who has taken charge और एक अच्छे रन पे गया before he lost yesterday. But
yeah,
let's start expectation versus reality, because मेरे को यूए से जब एक्सपेक्टेशंस की बात कर रहे हैं ऑफ लेट, ऑब्जेक्टिवली, दिस इज अगेन फॉर एनी यूवेंटिनो वाचिंग, अगर आपको लग रहा है मैं इंटर फैन होके बोल रहा हूँ, वैसा नहीं है, बट आई थिंक यू गाइस विल आल्सो एग्री कि सीजन ऑन सीजन एज द सीजन बिगिंस, अजय भाई, एक्सपेक्टेशंस बहुत वियर्ड रहती है, क्योंकि व्हेन दे साइन अ लॉट ऑफ प्लेयर्स द एक्सपेक्टेशन इज चलो वी आर बैक, एंड ऐसा लगता भी एज अ राइवल आल्सो यू फील लाइक या यू नो वी हैव साइन ऑल दीस गुड प्लेयर्स, एंड देन एवरीथिंग फंबल हो जाता है. और इस टाइम अगर आप ट्रांसफर बिजनेस भी देखो वैसे ओवरऑल, I would say weird is the right word to describe UA. Like very confused, weird. So expectation versus reality, take over.
I think the expectation with Tudor was to rebuild again this year, which is not the UA way, because you speak to any UA fan,
Yeah.
the UA fans will say that UA should be challenging for titles. ठीक है, that is and that's fair enough given the history, given
Yeah,
their
yeah,
legacy and
yeah.
everything. So ek to there is that a disconnect that okay, as a club we are expected to challenge for titles, but okay, we're accepting that after the Thiago Motta debacle in the previous season, we will take this year as a rebuild, and we
Mm,
will challenge for titles from next season onwards. But वो rebuild here maybe, so if you're giving the keys to
mm,
Igor Tudor, then
mm,
you have to trust him for the season at least.
mm,
But वो हुआ नहीं. You saw
mm,
that Tudor was sacked, and Luciano Spalletti coming in. I was surprised, Param,
mm,
because of the fact, given that his failures at the Azzurri, and
mm.
I thought with Thiago Motta, Juve are approaching. They want a different approach. They want to
Correct.
bring in a young coach.
Mm,
Palladino was available. I think Palladino, obviously हम लोग बात करेंगे when we come to
yeah.
Atlanta, but I thought they will go in that direction, but they went in this direction. ठीक है,
Mm,
immediate results तो आया है उनको, but
mm,
abhi bhi, I think their realistic goal has to be top four qualifications, because if this is the year of the rebuild, they have to
mm,
be playing the Champions League, because that's where the revenue comes in, that's where
mm.
the budget
Absolutely.
comes in. And Param, this is a
Mm,
team that have spent heavily last season on Cup minors, on so many players, and
mm.
even this year,
Yeah.
Jonathan David free transfer hai on paper, but the reality behind, the
Mm,
agents have
mm,
been
mm.
paid quite a hefty sum. So it's not a
Yeah.
free transfer per se. They've spent like Openda as well. So
Oh boy.
there is that expectation, Param. But I think as a fan itself, if I were a Juventino, I'd be a bit confused and miffed. Where are
Mm,
we at this part of the season, really?
mm, mm. एंड आई थिंक ये आपने जो बोला एक ओवरऑल फेयर असेसमेंट है क्योंकि देखो I think the biggest mistake they made was keeping Tudor at the point. I'll tell you why. How many times have we discussed he has hit his ceiling as a coach? He is a just average to above average coach, I would say. We've
Yeah,
known this Ajay Bhai. Marseille, Lazio, हमें पता है उसका
yeah, yeah.
अप्रोच थोड़ा देर लास्ट करता है before it all spirals out. We've seen this time and again और उसकी सीलिंग है. I know they wanted Antonio Conte, so we know Juventus का ये तो बहुत हमने बार डिस्कस किया कि देयर मैनेजमेंट इज अ मेस. अभी भी उनका टॉप मैनेजमेंट चेंज हो रहा है. दे फाइनली गॉट अ स्पोर्टिंग डायरेक्टर इन ऑटोलिनी. मतलब अभी भी मैनेजमेंट चेंज हो रहा है, ये वो एंड द मिस्टेक वाज दे वेंट ऑल इन ऑन कॉन्टे हु वाज कॉन्ट्रैक्टेड टू नापोली. ऐसा नहीं था कि भाई ये छोड़ रहा है कंफर्म्ड है. दे बैंक्ड ऑन दैट, वी नो द स्टोरी, एंड ही चेंज्ड हिज माइंड ऑब्वियसली, राइट? एंड whatever happened, they got screwed over there. I mean, they made a blunder over there. Then they targeted Marco Silva. Like, come on, yeah. Like, that you, Ajay bhai, aap hi bolo. We all watched the prelim. Marco Silva is not a UA level coach. Let's be real, right? Like, that was a mistake. Then they stuck to Tudor, as I discussed, and नहीं है अजय भाई, वो नहीं. You remember he was not being able to lock down his starting 11 for a
Yeah, yeah,
large part.
yeah, 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 yeah.
उसको स्ट्राइकर्स भी नहीं जम रहा था, उसको स्टार्टिंग 11 नहीं लॉक करने को जम रहा था. वो कैसे आपको गाइड करेगा? एंड द सैकिंग मेड इन अ वे सेंस बिकॉज ये तुम्हें समर में करना था. तुमने प्रॉब्लम क्या, तुमने बीच में कर दी. तुम्हें
Right,
लकीली स्पलेटी मिला. मतलब यू आर स्टिल
right,
फॉर्चुनेट यू गॉट अ डिसेंट कोच, लाइक गुड कोच, आई वुड से.
right.
बट अगेन look at that squad. If I were to just pull it up, sorry, if I were to just pull it up, it's not a bad squad. मतलब जैसे आपने बोला जॉनथन डेविड, जितना पैसा उस पे उसके एजेंट पे उड़ाया है, जो साइनिंग बोनस दिया है, जो फब्रिजियो रोमानो ने जितना पेडल किया है, नॉट वर्थ द हाइप, राइट? लोइस ओपेंडा, अजय में उधर उसका 40 मिलियन का ऑब्लिगेशन है उसमें. किस बात का? I had called it, this guy's physically declining. For what are you paying 40 million?
Yeah,
Right? And ठीक है, मटेटा के रूमर्स आ रहे हैं, but that let's talk about it when it happens, if it happens.
yeah, yeah.
Berati has been good. Atsic is a good talent, but seems like he'll get loaned out. Zegrova fully अभी तक वो फिटनेस में आया नहीं अजय भाई. We've known ever since he's signed, he's not been like fully up to speed, right, physically.
Yeah,
और अब
yeah,
तक उसका भी इम्पैक्ट दिखा नहीं है. Kenan Yildiz अजय भाई has been the star. We can all agree he's
yeah,
probably their best player. Yildiz. Coop Miners का आप रिवाइवल sorry, you paid 60 million last year, but that I know now he's playing again in midfield, but that doesn't mean left center back was the solution. But still, चलो Spalletti उसका बचा रहा है, चलो he's salvaging something. Chico का एक
but I still argue with that 60 million Param. 60
Yeah, yeah.
million euro. Oh my God, what a fee.
I agree. I agree with you. 60 million just to be converted into a left center back. I mean, if let's see how it goes, but I agree with you. चीको कौन जैसा आई थिंक उसका बेटर प्रोडक्ट दिख रहा है हमें, बट आई थिंक प्रॉब्लम क्या है ना, जब है वो एंड प्रोडक्ट कंसिस्टेंट नहीं है उसके साथ. आई थिंक दैट इज समथिंग वी नीड टू एक्सेप्ट गोइंग फॉरवर्ड. लाइक इज अ ब्यूटीफुल प्लेयर टू वॉच, राइट? वो जो ट्रिकरी, लाइक
Yeah, yeah.
शॉर्ट प्लेयर, बट वो एंड प्रोडक्ट मिसिंग है उसके गेम से कंसिस्टेंट बेसिस पे. कबाल लुक्स लाइक ही इज ऑन हिज वे आउट. जोआओ मारियो वो साइनिंग फेड हो गया, देखा आपने जब स्टार्ट किया एक दो गेम अच्छा खेला, faded away completely. Kefren
Yeah.
Duram still does a good job. Locatelli is there. I'm not going to run through every player, but you get the point. See, you look at the squad composition, and they've been. I
Shagrova,
mean, हाँ
Shagrova also has been very disappointing.
हाँ मैं वही बोला ना, फिटनेस इश्यूज, राइट? लाइक his fitness has not been 100% since he signed, so that has been an issue. And fitness issues की बात करें तो कितने इंजरीज कबाल को हुआ था, फिर आपका ब्रेमर को फिर से हुआ, मतलब इंजरी दे बीन अनलकी. स्टिल अगर आप इस पलेटी साइड ऑफ थिंग्स देखो, ही सैल्वेज्ड इट अजय. अगर आप उनका रीसेंट
Yeah,
रन
he's
देखो बिफोर,
salvaged it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, before yesterday's loss, they thrashed Cremonese, they thrashed Sassuolo. They obviously Lecce was a weird draw, but they beat Pisa. They obviously beat Roma as well. Bologna को वो लोग हराए चैंपियंस लीग में, फाइनली कुछ तो जीते वो लोग. Then Napoli loss was that धब्बा, but उसके बाद एक decent run पे गए ये लोग.
Yeah,
So
they were doing
point is he salvaged, but I think we can all agree कि as a club they're still not there. Like they run like a mess. They're not like the, I mean, Spalletti है चलो better है, but still एक्सपेक्टेशन मेरे को पता नहीं क्या थी, बट रियलिटी भी कुछ थोड़ी ठीक है, बट कैन बी बेटर आई गेस, इज व्हाट एवरी यूए फैन वुड अग्री. वी हाइलाइटेड द प्लेयर्स दैट हैव डन वेल. Yildiz, your Bremer is obviously good, but when he's available, Kefren Thuram
Miretti has
flop.
been good.
Sorry,
Miretti has been good.
Miretti, correct, Miretti. I mean, he almost won a penalty yesterday, but उसने लात मार दी थी कल इसको कैलियरी के प्लेयर को. But Miretti, yes, you're right, because Napoli also wanted him. And this guy, sorry, flop wise, we discussed David Openda. I mean, oh, the list is long. I mean, unfortunately. And how do you give them, what overall grade would you give them? Because this is
I
really
would.
tough. This is, I kind of find it tough to give them an overall grade in that sense.
I think I would give them a B minus, Param. I would still
Huh.
give them a B minus.
B minus is what you gave Roma as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think B minus is what I would give Juve as
Ooh,
well.
and Roma
Yeah,
same grade. Wow.
yeah.
I think B minus is fair for you. Maybe B minus दूंगा. Let's see what the season
Yeah.
holds for them. They just lost yesterday, but देखते क्या होता है. Next up अजय भाई, न्यूट्रल्स की डार्लिंग कोमो, बट ऑब्वियसली सेरिया कैल्चियो कम्युनिटी में थोड़ा फैब्रिगस के कमेंट से they're not the darlings that they used to be anymore because of what he said against Inter and even what he said against AC Milan. मेरी पता नहीं उसको मिलान क्लब्स के अगेंस्ट ये सब क्यों बोलना है कि वी डोमिनेटेड पोजीशन एंड दिस दैट. बट क्या बोलते हो अजय भाई, कोमो, लीविंग ऑल दैट असाइड, सिक्स्थ प्लेस. Obviously they've spent a lot of money, but ऐसा नहीं है कि they've been signing like big veterans. They've signed mainly young talent, which I will pull up. क्या बोलते हो, expectation, reality, transfers is first I want to tackle with you.
I think they have surpassed their expectation. To be honest, they're flying high above in the European places, and I think that's something that they would have set out to do. But to actually be there and take advantage of, say an Atlanta slipping up or a Lazio being inconsistent, I think that's fair enough to Fabregas. He's made this Como team very exciting to watch.
Yeah,
Of course, Nico Paz has been one of the standout players in Serie A. परम मतलब वो Serie A
yeah,
में एक shining beacon रहा है.
yeah,
तो
absolutely.
मैं तो वही कहूंगा कि जिस तरीके से ये प्रोजेक्ट जा रहा है, very exciting to watch. Even outside the pitch, off the pitch, the
Hmm.
moves that they're making are very interesting as a football club, as an entity.
Hmm.
So in short, I would say, ठीक है, he doesn't have a lot of Italians at the core. He's got some exciting young players. He's gotten some experienced players. तो वो blend बहुत ही सही है. And Fabregas hopefully learns also as a coach, because there is not one way to play football. I mean, if you want to lock down
Exactly.
results, you need to swallow that pill and
Yeah,
kind of defend your leads and play
yeah,
according to the situation. And his
exactly.
in-game management can be better, in my opinion. But again,
Hmm.
he's a young coach. He'll definitely learn. So overall, I would say surpass the expectation, and things are looking good for Como.
Yeah, agree. Just briefly, quickly, अगर मैं transfer business, I think the transfer business has been good for the most part. अगर आप
Yeah,
देखो, बहुत areas address किए जो last summer जैसा नहीं था, जहाँ लोग ने कुछ भी sign किया था, then they
कुछ भी
fixed it in
साइनिंग किया,
January.
हाँ,
Yeah, like you see, you had Baturina come in who's still settling in. Your Jesus Rodriguez, यार क्या signing है.
what a
Nicolas
signing.
Jared Kuhn yet to adapt, but Perone has, I mean Perone is doing well. Jacobo Ramon center back में अच्छा खेल रहा है. Morata has been, yes, hot and cold, ठीक है, get that missing penalties what not. Diego
Missing,
Carlos अच्छा खेले, उसको मैन ऑफ द मैच अवार्ड्स भी मिले हैं. डाई
yeah,
बिफोर हिज इंजरी वाज गुड. सो इट्स नॉट,
yeah,
इट्स बीन गुड फॉर देम. अगर मैं क्विकली बोलूं कौन सा प्लेयर अच्छा रहा है, वेरी वेरी क्विकली, I think there is no doubt that Nico Paz has been one. He's
has
not just in contention for Ajay Bhai Young Best Player of the Season award. He's been in
yeah, yeah,
contention for the best player of the season का award में वो रहेगा. Just overall,
100%,
Butes जो
100%.
goalkeeper situation उन्होंने solve की was smart. As I said, like Mark Oliver Kempf scoring a few goals here and there. Uh, just generally, and इस सीजन उसने जैसे आपने बोला ना, टैक्टिकल आइडेंटिटी और भी लॉकडाउन की है. And expectation, I think they've exceeded expectations. I agree with you. Fair, that's a fair assessment.
Yeah,
I think, as you said, just that वो एक stuck up mentality है. There's one way to play the game. Again, वो उसका perspective है, वो उसकी उसका उसका footballing philosophy है. There's nothing wrong with it. But as you said, if you adapt, you can do many better things. You can get results where you didn't get results, basically, right?
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
वही है, I get it. He has a certain way, and I know Como as an institution have a certain way. उनको वो tourism के साथ match करना है. They want
yeah.
Como to be the first, like football to be the first attraction along with tourism. I get it, but still, you can try to adapt a thing or two here and there. I know, see, transfer business not to complain. Key players, जैसे हमने बोला, Nico Paz, ये वो. I think one player that could have just done better is Morata. That's mainly my gripe because I feel वो थोड़ा better कर सकता था. And
Yep.
Kuhn, Nicholas Jared Kuhn, I think थोड़ा और expected था. Diao unfortunately वो Fabregas, देखो Fabregas का ही उसने याद है ना, AFCON के पहले Diao का injury, he messed up with that,
Yeah, yeah.
with handling of his injury. And Duvikas, sorry Ajay, I have to give him a shout. He has been good. Duvikas
Exactly. Even
scoring
the
a
goalkeeper
lot.
Vitesse has been good.
Yeah, Butes, yeah, exactly, as I said, like he's been good. So yeah, overall good. I think if we were to give them a grade, Ajay bhai, क्या grade दोगे? I would give them, oh, A, I think. क्या
Even I'll give
क्या
them.
दो?
Even I'll give them A. Even I'll give them A.
Fair. And I think one last gripe, sorry, we know Fabregas ने बीच में इस चीज पे comment किया था कि why he does not play a lot of Italians. I think वही एक कैल्चो कम्युनिटी में gripe है कि ये लोग इटालियंस को ज्यादा खिलाते नहीं, और भी जो भी यंगस्टर्स फ्यूचर की प्लानिंग कर रहे हैं, इज मेनली फॉरेनर्स. एंड द होप इज, ऐसा नहीं अजय भाई कि यार इटालियंस इतने भी खराब है कि एक भी ना हो, वो लोग सिर्फ स्क्वाड
नहीं
रजिस्ट्रेशन
नहीं नहीं
पर्पस के.
बिल्कुल नहीं
Exactly. So
बिल्कुल
maybe
नहीं.
that is something we can't grade them on this, but maybe that is something as a Calcio fan, I'm sure, or as an Azzurri fan, more like you hope they incorporate, because in such a good project where a club can spend and play his youth, you need Italians to be there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
moving on from Como, Ajay bhai, next Atalanta seventh है, but it was quite a disappointing start क्योंकि यूरिच आया, यूरिच गया, पालाडिनो आया, अभी बेटर कर रहे, but it was not good. It was like reverse of what happened with Roma, if you will. Started bad, now like you get my point. Started bad, now kind of on the up, but Roma started well, now kind of थोड़ा lost team. So क्या बोलते हो अटालांटा के बारे में?
I think they have been on a upward trajectory, and they will be there come end of the season. I think that Juric experiment failed. मेरे को तो I still feel कि वो Juric is just there, wrong place, wrong
हाँ,
time.
उसका वो भाई, मतलब is there like there he has to be one of those coaches in the world जो हमेशा गलत टाइम पे गलत जगह पे पहुंच जाता है, मतलब.
बिल्कुल.
Yeah, sorry, God.
But but having said that, Palladino, I have always rated him from his Monza days. Fiorentina में अच्छा किया. I feel that Palladino would hold out for that UA job, but वो नहीं हुआ. But Atlanta, I think it's worked out for them. You see Skamaka coming back into form. They obviously they brought in Raspadori. Di Kettelare has been doing well for them. Overall, I think Atlanta will be there to challenge for the European spots come end of the season. Champions League में उन लोग surprisingly they're doing very well. Out of
हाँ.
syllabus, Atlanta they're in the top 8. I think Abhi, at this point of time, the Bergamo folk will be happy, and they'll be looking upwards to challenge and come into break into that top 5 come end of the season.
अगर मैं यही बात करूँ ना कि वियर्डली एक्सपेक्टेशंस थोड़े कम थे post Gasperini, right? हम जानते हैं Atalanta community भी थोड़ी डरी हुई थी कि हम Conference League भी नहीं करेंगे qualify. But अभी Palladino आने के बाद they've kind of reached that spot, and now kind of weirdly that expectation wise it has been met, right? In a way, if you get what I mean. But obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
जैसे आपने बोला यूरिच था wrong place wrong time. He's also at fault. जब भी वो आता है ना, उसका मेजर फ्लॉ है कि he cannot get his attackers to score. वो डिफेंसिवली कैसे तो कर लेता है अजय भाई, but his attack just cannot score. And then he started losing out on the defensive side of things. You saw how he got slapped by Sassuolo, like that 3-0 and whatnot that happened. We used to watch Atalanta beat Sassuolo by 7 goals. Now Sassuolo comes to your this thing Bergamo and trashes them 3-0. So
Yeah.
point being, Juric experiment failed. Then Palladino, जैसे आपने बोला, he seems to be the right fit. एकदम magically सब नहीं होने वाला, because थोड़ा इटालियन कम्युनिटी में है वो टेंडेंसी पलाडिनो को ज्यादा हाइप करने की, बट वी आल्सो नीड टू नो दैट ही इज आल्सो ग्रोइंग, लाइक ही इज लर्निंग ऑन द जॉब. ही आल्सो हैज हिज शॉर्टकमिंग्स, ही इज आल्सो लर्निंग. बट व्हाट हैज ही डन अजय भाई, उसने मेरे हिसाब से अटालांटा को बेसिक्स उनके याद दिलाए कि भाई तुम्हारी ये आइडेंटिटी थी, तुम्हें वो आइडेंटिटी के साथ फिर से खेलने का ट्राई करना है बेसिकली. एंड दैट इज व्हाट वी सॉ, एज यू सेड, स्कमाका ऑफ लेट, चार्ल्स डे कैटालारा, यू रिमेंबर हाउ फ्लैट ही वाज एट द बिगिनिंग ऑफ द सीजन. वो थोड़ा अच्छा खेलने लगा है. कर्स्टोविच, हमें पता है वो बहुत हॉट एंड कोल्ड प्लेयर है, बट फिर भी थोड़ा डिसेंट परफॉर्मेंसेस निकल. yes yes he started. So Palladino always gets along with the youngsters. वो थोड़ा उसकी मैन मैनेजमेंट एबिलिटी अच्छी है, ट्रीट्स देम एज अ फ्रेंड. लुकमैन का भी थोड़ा फॉर्म वापस आ गया है. So we just seeing Atalanta generally step up to what we know. Are they there yet? Absolutely not. That will take time because it's not that easy. They just got held by Pisa. But we are seeing a much better Atalanta. एक चीज मैं बोलूंगा, disappointing transfer मरकातो. अभी रास्पाडोरी में जैन में साइन किया जाए भाई, but we spoke of this in the summer. It was not good. We saw like Retegi was not replaced well at the time. Overall they could have done more. I feel center back sign kiya.
Honest Ahanor has honestly been their best signing. Otherwise, it's been Zalewski has been disappointing. Sulemana just settling in, but otherwise it's not been impressive, man.
Yeah, I think you are right in saying that Honest Ahanor has definitely been one of their better signings. Again, Sulemana still adapting. But अगर मैं performance wise बोलूं, जैसे I feel Ahanor यार, Ahanor has been really good. Like I would say Ahanor has been really good overall. I really like how the maturity the kid is showing, and for your sake, hopefully he picks Azzurri. I mean, Italy is really trying. And Ederson वापस आया इंजरी से, वो भी ठीक कर रहा है. But disappointing player के हिसाब से यार मैं बोलूंगा Belanova. That hype has kind of gone here. Like again, he was never that great, but you know what I mean, right? Like he could have done much more. So yeah, definitely Atalanta को अगर grade देना हो जाए भाई तो क्या grade दे?
I'll give them a C, just for the fact that where they are right now. But C with C plus, because I still feel that they should have been there and thereabouts. Even if it Gasperini going and a new era starting, I think they were not stripped of their jewels. To be fair, apart from Retegi, it was a no-brainer to sell him for that kind of money.
Yeah.
But you had Skamaka coming back from that ACL anyways.
Yeah.
So, abhi to C hai, but I think it will rise. I think it can go to
C.
an A-.
C is fair. C is fair. I would agree with the C. Bologna, और ये अगर आप 1-0 देख रहे हो उसके बाजू में, is because they're losing to Mandragora scored and they're losing to Fiorentina right now in the Derby del Appennino. ये rivalry है and Bologna are losing. But अजय भाई, Bologna right now as things stand, they sit 8th on the table. क्या बोलते हो इनके बारे में? Because look, the project and all we praise. Obviously, I think the 2026 का start has not been good for them. एक ही win रहा है उसमें, which is them beating Hellas Verona of all clubs, obviously. but other than that, they've not won a game.
Param, their signings have been very bad this year. You have to, getting Ciro Immobile and Bernardeschi in 2025 has to be some sort of crime somewhere in the world, because we associate karte hain with smart, like Bologna sign smart, they sell with that plus Valenza, and then they reinvest in better players. But this transfer window they've really not been up to it, and that has shown. No, I mean, aap dekhoge, they've been hot and cold throughout. Like they've had some patches where they've been good, and then some patches where they've been god awful. So it's been confusing in my opinion for them.
I think confusing sorry is the right word, because अगेन लाइक जैसे आपने बोला राइट, लाइक द मरका तो जैसे हमने बात की थी बेटर हो सकता था, मैं भी आपके साथ हूँ जब साइनिंग्स उन्होंने की थी, आई थिंक थोड़ा थोड़ा बेटर हो सकता था, लाइक ठीक है Heggem has been a very good signing to be fair. Heggem has been
Yeah,
one of the better defenders in the Serie A. बट बर्नार्डेस की 3-4 इंजरी तो हो गई है इस बंदे को वापस होने के बाद, याद है जब पहले आया था फर्स्ट मैच डे के पहले इंजर हो गया, चीरो
yeah,
इमोबिले अगेन ही गॉट इंजर्ड इनिशियली, बट ठीक है they've done their bits here and there, especially बर्नार्डेस की एक दो चीजें तो यूजफुल की है उसने, Vitic has been decent, but other than that, I feel they could have made smarter signings. Just something I agree with you. Like उसके अलावा they did need a few more profiles. I remember they tried signing Nicolussi Caviglia, नहीं हुआ.
yeah,
Uh, they tried a lot more things. They retailed Luku Michalo, fantastic.
yeah, yeah,
Job well done there. But
yeah,
they could have, they just could have maybe made a few wiser decisions. Like,
yeah,
ठीक है, the squad, if you look at that way, Ajay Bhai, it's not a bad squad. Look at this, just look at the player, right? Dalinga, Benja Dominguez, Castro, Ro, Cambiagi in form, Fabian भी form में, Odegaard भी form में. So, ठीक है, Ibrahim Sulemana is a signing, didn't work out, but Luis Ferguson वापस आया, Remo Freuler ठीक कर रहा है,
yeah.
Miranda. It's not a bad squad, Ajay bhai. It honestly,
Yeah.
I feel should be higher than 8. Is my
Huh.
opinion, at least.
Agreed,
Like,
agreed, agreed.
agreed. And see, I agree with you. Maybe you remove a Ciro Immobile, you can start sign someone else, invest in another area. Because आप जैसे बोले, we are known to see Bologna as a smarter club, right?
Yeah,
And the 2025 culmination was not bad. They could have won. They knocked us out of the Super Copa,
yeah,
obviously. They lost the final, unfortunately for them. But yeah, क्या बोलते हैं? 2026 has not been the best for them. It start wise, like Juve से हारे, Napoli से हारे, Inter से भी हार गए. But overall, what grade would you give them? Because I feel expectation reality के wise वो mid table चीज में है वो लोग. I
yeah.
do think they should be where Atalanta are, given that the mess Atalanta suffered, maybe one place higher or maybe or just on par with Como. क्या बोलते हो आप?
I think B minus should be a fair grade.
Yeah, B
In my
minus.
opinion.
I agree. B minus is more than fair. And just quickly, if I had to say which players have stood out, again, मैं बोलूंगा यार, Heggem has been really good. Like Juan
Yeah.
Miranda, yes. Heggem, Orsolini, तो there is no doubt. Ajay. I mean, Orsolini तो
भाई
भाई वो.
क्या गोल मारा उसने यार last
Yeah,
weekend.
exactly.
Super.
Yeah, I'm very surprised with Cambiagi because this guy's confidence was rocked after injuries. Kudos to him. He's trying to do his best. Disappointing, I would say. Is there someone I'm missing? Like, I mean, I don't want to say Luis Ferguson. Uski injury की वजह से he's never been not been the same. But yeah, I mean, I feel maybe someone like you expect more from someone like I would say consistently maybe Castro the talent he is, but I don't want to say he's been disappointing. Like that would be too much of a
Yeah,
stretch.
yeah,
I feel.
yeah.
So
I
I
think they've
would.
been all very lukewarm परम. एकदम मैंने वो
हाँ,
जब पैच आता है ना 2-3 गेम 4 गेम सही खेलते बाद में दिन दे ड्रॉप.
Correct,
That's how
correct.
they.
So that's the correct word. And one last thing, sorry, Rawali, I have to give a shout out, भाई.
Yeah, he's been very
ये
well.
बैकअप कीपर होता था अजय भाई, ये बैकअप था टू स्कोरुप्स्की
Yeah,
एंड Italiano gave this guy the confidence. I can't believe he's 1999 born, by the way.
yeah,
He's been
yeah.
so long in the Serie A कि मेरे को विश्वास ही नहीं हो रहा 1999 का born है, मेरे से भी छोटा है तो. But point being, yeah, he's been a good revelation for them. Ajay bhai, moving on, we have your favorite club Lazio next. क्या grade दोगे? क्या grade दोगे? Objective.
I want to give them A minus because they're doing exactly what I want them to do. Had they been below the top 10, A plus. No, but
yeah.
all jokes aside, yeah, I think it's been very confusing because somehow they managed to scam West Ham and Fenerbahce
Yeah.
of almost 60 million euros. And
Yeah, that's insane.
of course, Gendouzi went to Fenerbahce, won a Super Cup, ठीक है. But even Castellanos, man, I mean, that price tag, my God, and सारी बेचारा सिगरेट छोड़ने की बात कर रहा है कि भाई मैं छोड़ दूंगा. पता नहीं क्या चलता है वो क्लब में भाई. मतलब it is surprising. I think they're exactly where they're supposed to be given whatever has happened over the summer. They're exactly where they're supposed to be. And I think it's because of Sari's coaching brilliance कि उन लोग 9th में है. पर अब वरना ना उन लोग they would have been there in that between Sassuolo, Parma, Cremonese, between 12 to 14 होते थे अगर
I know what you mean. Yeah. And मेरा start of the season prediction में तो I had them at 10th place. I still, I mean, मैं गलत होने के लिए तो गलत हो सकता, but I still feel वो लोग 10th या ऐसा कुछ finish करेंगे. Again, एक्सपेक्टेशन वर्सेस रियलिटी हम जानते हैं these guys messed up with the transfer market. उनका जो liquidity ratio था 3 indices exceed कर दिए उन्होंने, ट्रांसफर बैन हो गया. उसके बाद से मेरा एक्सपेक्टेशन था 10th प्लेस एंड रियलिटी भी ऑलमोस्ट वही है बेसिकली, ओनली 2 points क्लियर ऑफ उडीनेजे बेसिकली, राइट? एंड एंड फाइनली साइनिंग्स आ गए. केनेथ टेलर साइन किया जैन में, रैटकॉफ साइन किया स्ट्राइकर टू रिप्लेस कास्टेयानोस, which again Sari said he's never watched the player play. He needs to understand how to work with him, which is typical Lazio ना. कि मेरा क्या था जब उनका जब बैन लिफ्ट हुआ ना अजय भाई, एकदम स्टेटमेंट डाला, our ban has been lifted, which is expected obviously. We'll be ready. देखे भी Kenneth Taylor is an all right player. He's not like some fantastic player, I would say. He's a decent player. Radkov is he's a talent to be molded. मेरा ये था अजय भाई कि तुम इतना हाइप कर रहे हो, we'll be ready. Where are the rest of the signings? Where were you ready? If you were ready, you should have worked out most of the deals in the background. You had the time to do that. Where is that? And as you said, this is
अभी भी आ रहा है. Insigne अभी भी आ रहा है.
Insigne तो होगा नहीं मेरे को लग रहा है. I think Insigne they've given up also. But yeah, Insigne अभी भी आ रहा है. मतलब Insigne का पूरा जो भी hype था, I mean, why don't I understand whatever that was? Point being, as you said, this is Sarri, we know he loves Lazio. अगर वो Lazio से इतना प्यार नहीं करता ना, तो Lazio और नीचे होता टेबल के. Like Lazio are lucky to have a guy who loves them so much. Like if some third person was their coach ना, like I don't know, whoever, some free coach, whoever you name, ये लोग पक्का 12-13 होते. मैं लिख के देता हूँ आपको. और सैकिंग पे सैकिंग होता है इनका कोच का. 2 कोच तो होते ये सीजन एटलीस्ट उनके. एंड अगेन उसने बचाया टैक्टिकली अजय भाई. he used Guendouzi the right way before he left. He used Rovella की वो इंजरी का सीन हो गया पूरा, where Rovella chose not to get the surgery done and then that got aggravated, so he got the surgery done. Castellanos was out of form. Like Castellanos को बेचा ही जो प्राइस में, जैसे आपने बोला वो center back. Now there is a thing that where Sarri apparently will get pissed if Romagnoli is sold to Al Sadd. Nuno Tavares throwing tantrums, like, you know, it's not been an easy ride, but despite that he's done it. He's done a decent job to keep them at least. Exactly. So क्या grade दोगे आप इनको? क्या grade
I think I'll give them a B- Param, because expectation जो था वो ही अभी चल रहा है. I mean, they've exceeded expectation, like you know, you have summed it up perfect. So with whatever they've had, I think I'll give them a B-.
I would give them a C still, because like still like मैं पूरा club को judge कर रहा हूँ इधर, and this was just.
ठीक है तो
yeah,
मुझे तो F देना है, but मैं भी I'll change it to a C.
Yeah. And just quickly, so you're also going with a C. Quickly, best player Provedel. Again, I always felt Mandas was harshly treated, but Provedel is doing a great job at goalkeeping. He's made a lot of clutch saves. Mario Hila have been one of his biggest critics, but again, he's been playing very well, Ajay Bhai. Other than that, I think disappointing to definitely Castellanos tha. Like, what did this guy even do? I mean,
Thomas Basic has done well for them.
Yeah, Thomas Basic, kudos to that guy. भाई बेचारा freeze out हो गया था, किधर से किधर लोन भेज दिया उसको, आके ही अच्छा किया. So kudos to that guy. But yeah, I agree. I think definitely that. And transfer business, I mean, है ही नहीं transfer business बात करने को. अगर किसी ने miss किया है तो Kenneth Taylor and Petr Radkov have been signed in January. And I think that was pretty much about it. Ajay bhai, moving on. Yeah. We now quickly can wrap up because we have Udinese, Torino, and Sassuolo basically. I think generally these 3 clubs are where
exactly where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly where they're supposed to be. Because
battle for the 10th place.
Torino, yeah. देखो Udinese का वही है ना, जब like just quickly wrapping up these 3 clubs, like Udinese ना, they will always, because we know वो एक stable club है, smart club है ना, जब they're one of the most stable clubs in the league. They own their stadium. They always give these young players that platform, right? They always do the right thing, but unfortunately they don't get rewarded for it more than they should. Maybe you can say that, like, क्योंकि वो लोग actually अच्छा run institution. Maybe we can do a separate video on this. Like, they really give that platform for youngsters. आपने देखा है अजय भाई, like your who's
Dhananjay is a good coach as well, having, you know, that's also an added bonus for them.
Yeah, अपना ये Destiny Udoji. There's so many. Just over the top of my head, if you also want to mention, they've given the league, or they've given other clubs so many players. Like, especially they're a great platform for African players. They really believe in African, since the AFCON is on. I mean, African players में इतना अजय भाई हमने बात की थी. They are the club that has invested the most in African players in the history of the Serie A. And just to come back to the season, Zaniolo has been good.
He's been very good.
Yeah, he's fighting for his spot, and this is good to see a serious Zaniolo. He was suspended against Inter. The point is, it's good to see a serious Zaniolo. That is what I think as you as Azzurri fans have wanted as well. Keenan Davis, hey, क्या ये एड्रियानो जैसे खेल रहा है भाई इसको yeah, what you see him make those runs, he's reminding me of fucking Adriano, yaar. Like,
And again, you mentioned, exciting players. Arthur Atta is the next player from Udinese coming out.
Obviously, Atta had to be.
Umar Sole apne ko pata hai because he's been good even last season for them. He's always had that talent, like, in him. Whatever has happened off the pitch, we'll not bring that today. But Arthur Atta, yaar, he's such an elegant player, yaar. Love to see him on the.
अभिजय होता तो आटा related कोई joke मारता, but whatever. But he did score the winner against Inter also. Arthur Okoye is, ever since his betting ban, he's been hot and cold. But again, look, Bartola is a decent talent. Ekelen Camp अच्छा कर रहा है. Thovan याद है आपको last year अच्छा कर रहा था. I think Lucas should have just stayed here. He just needs to come back to
Udinese. Really. I mean, he should have stayed here, and with Zaniolo, Luka, and even Keenan Davis, I think that would have been a good attacking try.
And again, जैसे हमने बोला, Keenan Davis has been good, Zaniolo has been good. Runjaic is a good man manager, can do better, but he's doing what he's supposed to. क्या grade दोगे आप Udinese को very quickly?
I think I'll give them a B plus. I think they're exactly where they're supposed to be.
Yeah. I think now that you think of it, Ajay, usually we are used to seeing Udinese like a 11th, 12th, 13th types. So the 10th technically. If that stays, I agree with you. Maybe you give a B plus, I'll give a B still. थोड़ा reservation है मेरा.
Fair.
But Torino, Ajay bhai, like ये तो भाई ये लोग तो basically Torino ना कौन से मोड पे चला गया पता है? Try to undo whatever. So they hired Petraki, of course you know Petraki, as their new sporting director. Vanyati is gone finally after getting an extension of till 2027, God knows why. Terrible sporting director, but he's gone. Torino are now trying to fix their mess basically. For example, Christian Aslani, they signed from Inter, they've frozen him out of the squad. They've said we want to get rid of him. He got 5 bids, he's rejected all 5 of them. Point being, transfers paper पे ऐसा लग रहा था ना अच्छा किया अजय भाई. Aslani, Zakaria Buklal, Franco, Cyril, Adrian Ismaili, still not bad. But बरोनी के पास वॉन्ड नहीं है ना अजय भाई. लाइक वो खुद के घटिया कायरो के साथ तो क्या ही कर सकता है, राइट? हाउ मच कैन ही डू विद अ शिट ओनर लाइक कायरो? सो व्हाट डू यू मेक ऑफ देम?
I think again they were expected to be in the top 10. They started awfully, they've built again. मतलब उनका भी थोड़ा on and off, hot and cold चला है. And the only positive here is that they've stuck to Baroni. I think again Baroni is not a bad coach by any extent. He's a good coach. तो उसको आप retain करो. Like you brought him from Lazio over the summer. You keep him there. I'm happy that Cairo has not let go of Baroni because
they were about to. Oh yeah, they got that last chance against Lazio at the Olimpico. And वो draw हुआ because they effed up. They were about to win at the Olimpico, and अगर वो game हारता, तो he was going to get sacked.
So in my opinion, I think Baroni has salvaged this Torino team. Hopefully tonight they roll over for Roma. please. But
Baroni अपना peak channel के because look, he has motivation. Ajay bhai, he's playing Gasperini A. He plays Gasperini A, जिसको हमेशा हराता है. दूसरा, he has motivation to jump back to 10th place, Torino's favorite spot.
Yeah. So motivation तो है भाई, but I think overall I would still say that I will give them a B, just so that they're there. I think they should have been there from the outset, but ठीक है, they're kind of like they're exactly where they're supposed. Like ये Sassuolo Udinese Torino, वही मतलब exactly how we predicted, exactly.
And what I'll say about Torino very quickly, Vlasic has been good. I've been watching him. वो पुराना Vlasic दिख रहा है थोड़ा, which has been good. Adrian Ismaili एक center back है जो ना he's a very reliable center back that many clubs want. Like Juve were also linked with him. His names will not pop up here in the footmob rating, but that's very that's top scorer I opened. I'm also going blind. But my point being, Adrian Ismaili has been very good. Disappointing wise, again Christian Aslani signing. I think Torino थोड़ा harsh हो रही है उधर, उसको trying to kick him out. That's a bit too much in my opinion. But disappointing wise, I would be Cyril and Gonch, पर उससे मेरे इतने expectations भी नहीं होते. I did expect a bit more from Che Adams, although he did have an injury. मैं चेयरडम से थोड़ा और एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा था, थोड़ा और इन दैट
और
सेंस
क्या
मे
होगा,
बी।
2 गोल तो मारा कोपा इटालिया में यार, तू क्या इतना एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा है?
और साउल कोको से भी
या
थोड़ा,
fair, fair, fair.
but again I don't really blame the players and the coach, because when your ownership is only so bad, like Cairo is a leech, and because of this the grade I will give Torino is C minus, not because of Baroni but because of the ownership mainly. As long as he's there, nothing is going to happen with this club, and it's just sad to see because it's a big club. It's a big club in the
Yeah,
context of Italian football.
yeah, yeah.
मूविंग ऑन क्या है अपना टोरिनो के बाद, सॉरी सासोलो, अजय भाई आई थिंक सासोलो का स्टोरी मैं क्विकली बोलना चाहता हूँ। मैंने ये ना एक ट्रेंड नोटिस किया था, वी हाइप देम अप अ बिट बट राइटली सो, बट व्हाट आई हैव नोटिस्ड इज दिस इज नॉट द सासोलो ऑफ ओल्ड, दिस इज नॉट द रॉबिनहुड सासोलो, दिस इज द सासोलो that will now lose to the big teams and take points from the small teams. Basically they're doing what we are not used to seeing them doing. Basically
Yeah.
USA, they got spanked. They lost to Inter. Milan is the only exception. Basically, they lost to Roma. If you see, they lost to, I think, if I'm not wrong, they held Lazio or something. One of the two things. But Atalanta तो ठीक है, वो अलग टाइम पे हुआ था. But they beat Lazio. My bad. But still, Ajay bhai, this is the Sassuolo that is kind of losing to the big teams. Grosso still, Ajay bhai, you would say he's done an okay job because first season back, yeah. I mean, it's never easy. It's never easy to be 12th first season back. क्या बोलते हो?
They had a disaster start, Param, if you remember.
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
in the bottom three for some time,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
Grosso kind of, got them back, and they started picking up points. But Grosso also identified उसका जो best 11 है, एक system place में आया. थोड़ा मैं jump करूँ तो, the players like Muharamovic,
Oh,
it,
yeah,
it
yeah. I
they
have to
kind
pull
of
that up.
they kind of like started to gel up. You saw Berardi in between coming in, getting those clutch goals
Yeah.
once again. Matic has been excellent. That experience jo hai. Volpato,
Yeah.
has been clutch for them as well. So, Ismail Kone also, what a good player.
Yeah,
I think Canadians ke liye, there should be like more than Jonathan David. I think Ismail Kone
yeah.
has been
Exactly.
exciting
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
league. So I think वही है Param, Sassuolo. Given that it's that that yo-yo wala season where they're back from Serie B as champions and now in Serie A, I think they're exactly where they're supposed to be. They will build on this, and I will not be surprised, Param, in the next 3-4 years if Sassuolo come back to the Conference League at least.
Yeah, I mean, you never know because they have वो हमेशा stable project है. As you said, Muharemovic has been fantastic. Berardi भी he's injured currently, but वो अच्छा है. Not just these two guys, ये भी अपना very Lorient है जब I don't know why they've given him such a low rating, but he's been good. He's been good. Lorient, Volpato underrated. Transfer business quickly pull up करूँ. It was smart. See, Matic को लाना brought in much needed leadership. Just that they cannot beat the big teams anymore for what they're used to basically doing. And other than that, I think it's not bad for a first season. Like क्या ही और लोग expect कर रहे हैं मेरे को समझ में नहीं आ रहा. Sure, the striker situation can be better. You cannot be using Andrea Pinamonti in
26.
2020. Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. Like that's not how it should be. But I'm sure they'll build on it. It's a decent squad. क्या grade दोगे आप इनको? Again, as you said, there is
B plus. B plus.
B plus. Again, C plus I think is fair in my opinion. Parma, Cremonese, Cagliari. Parma, Ajay bhai, like कैसे start किया? It was quite bad. Like with Cuesta, our prediction was he would be the first to get sacked, but here he is. He's 13th. Not bad considering how Kyle Kraus decides to go for younger players mainly. Not bad, you would say. क्या बोलते हो? क्या rating and what's your opinion?
I think हमने ये discuss किया था कि Cuesta would be probably one of the first managers to get sacked.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
proven us all wrong,
yeah,
and very solid, very difficult for teams to break them. Like solidity, defensive solidity जो उसने Arteta School of Management से लिया है, दिख रहा है काफी कुछ. But वही है, inexperience है Param. Is this sustainable? I don't think so, because if you want to break into the top 10, you need to have a blend of youth and experience. वो lack of experience young players को उठा के नहीं होगा ये league में. But है flashes of brilliance है. So I think they should be pretty happy considering where they are. They're not in a relegation dogfight at this point of time. And I think that's where they'll aspire to become end of the season a bit.
Yeah,
Offer चाहिए उनको from the relegation battle.
एंड एक चीज बोलूंगा, these guys get very unlucky with injuries. ये मैं हमेशा हर सीजन स्टार्ट होता है ये बोलता हूं, अनफॉर्चुनेटली इनकी इंजरी लिस्ट इतनी लंबी होती है, सब इंजर हुए थे, आपको याद है ऑन्ड्रे का, डेल प्रातो, सबको इधर बड़ी इंजरी होती है, छोटी इंजरीज भी नहीं होती. सो you have to give them the benefit of doubt there. Like Zion Suzuki has a broken hand. They're playing, they're playing their third choice keeper against, in their last win they played their third choice keeper basically. So I mean you can understand, थोड़ा benefit of the doubt दे सकते हैं. Mandela Keita is a talent to keep an eye out on, Ajay bhai. Keep a very close eye out. But Sarkati, Del Prato, Bernabe is finally kind of exactly. Yep, and Bernabe finally getting that form back. Matteo Pellegrino, he's a poacher. Yeah, he is good.
Param, I was just watching Parma Genoa, and you were watching it as well. He was holding up the ball so well.
Exactly.
I mean, if I were the Italian FA, I would give him that dual national and bring him on board.
मुझे थोड़ा ये रेतेगी वाइब्स दे रहा है थोड़ा, I'm sorry but he also looks a bit like Retegi. It looks way too similar to Retegi.
But he's far more physical than Retegi.
Yeah, he's far more physical. Yeah. But I think Cuesta's bounced back well. Fair play to him. Like maybe yes, he can adapt more. And Parma as an institution can embrace a bit more experienced players again. Yeah, this is what we would like to see. But I understand where they come from. क्या grade दोगे? I think I would give them C plus. I don't know. It's very tough.
I would give them a B. I think
B. Maybe I'll give a B minus also, because this is fair. They've bounced back really well. So fair play to them. Last few clubs, Ajay bhai, Cremonese, I think थोड़ा disappointing है Ajay bhai, because
disappointing यार.
थोड़ा disappointing है given the run, like थोड़ा, because they started well. Kudos to them, एक तो कि point starting में rack up किया Ajay bhai. वो नहीं करते तो अभी relegation zone में होते. Like I think उधर वो भी consider करना चाहिए. But as you said, the last form like in 2026 and 2020, like it's not been good. Obviously, it's been really bad. Obviously they got robbed. हाँ, बोलो.
नहीं तू बोल.
I was just saying a few refereeing decisions that didn't go their way, unfortunate. But other than that, yeah, a bit disappointing in the second half. क्या बोलते हो?
Yeah. I think to the next match they get against Hellas Verona, they need to win those head-to-head games. Against teams that are below them. I think that should be the ultimate thing. Vardy आया, बहुत excitement था, बहुत hype था, which is good for the league in my opinion. They started off very well. They were high flying, and a lot of folks were like, Cremonese in Europe. But obviously, eventually the reality does catch up, and now they are where they are. But Davide Nicola, I think, should keep them safe because, मैंने कभी लाइफ में नहीं सोचा परम कि फ्रैंको वास्केज एंड JB Vardy will be linking up together in Cremona. Football is very weird in that way. But
and funnily enough, Cremonese are linked now in January with two players. एक तो Marianucci of Napoli and Reda Belayan. I think those signings could really help them. I really feel those two signings, if they quickly Vardy as
their goal has to be survival. The goal has to be survival.
Yeah, and I would say they still should aim for like 13, 12 to 14 का ये spot में, because अगर तुमने सीजन इतना स्टार्ट किया सडनली तुम खराब नहीं होते. लुक वार्डी, इट्स गुड टू सी हिम kind of do a decent job, be the top scorer for the team. But as you said, never did I think he would be linking up with Bonazzoli, Baschirotto. Never did I think I would see Mussolini commenting on his Red Bull passion, Romano Floriani, Mussolini. So that is something interesting as well. But I feel not the greatest second half, but they started so well that they've managed to be 14th. Like Van de Poot, again, you remember how good he was in the beginning. We used to put him in our team of the 11, week of the 11, team of the week, sorry.
Team of the week 11.
Baschirotto as well. Baschirotto. So they're not bad. And I really hope they survive, because they are one of the few legit kind of bottom table teams that are financially actually very stable. And again, maybe someday we can do a video. I think there's a very good history about their ownership. And they're known for violin ka. Obviously, Cremona is the place where the violin originated. So क्या grade दोगे आप Cremonese? I feel B or maybe C, B minus or C plus is fair. Maybe I'll give B minus.
Yeah, B minus for me also.
Fair. Cagliari, I think even like basically where I see Sassuolo and Parma, or maybe where I see maybe not Sassuolo, but at least where I see Parma, I thought that's where Cagliari would be, or Cremonese would be, something like that. I don't know. My brain is not working.
Yeah, I thought they would be higher. To be fair, I thought look, they would have been with that Atalanta, with Udinese and
Yeah.
Torino, but the 10th wala position. Because the foundation that they have, the
Hmm.
project that they have, I thought it'll be a bit higher.
Yeah, I agree. And look, Pisa ka ne, unka former legendary player is their coach, done a great job. And I really like they're pushing, regardless of the result, they're really pushing this youth Italian policy because Italy needs other clubs to do this, Ajay bhai. The Italian national team needs this. Elia Caprile in goal, Palestra, breakout
Oh,
player, has to be,
standout player, yeah.
yeah, standout player. Seba Esposito has been decent. Look, I have been very critical of this guy, but he's been decent. I'll be very honest. Thierry Mina has been good. यही लोग नहीं है there is a decent composition. I really hope for once Cagliari is a team I've never wanted to see survive, but because of how they're approaching things, I'm really liking the motivation behind it. Like I really they want their players to get called up for the Italian national team. That's they're not settling
Yeah,
for anything less,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
really appreciate that. ट्रांसफर बिजनेस वाइज ऑल्सो इट वाज डिसेंट अभी किलिच सॉय आपने देखा फाइनली उसको वो लोग ने थोड़ा
Yeah,
खिलाना चालू किया है यू सॉ दैट गोल ही स्कोर्ड अगेंस्ट टोरिनो दैट वाज इनसेन यार एंड बेलोटी अनफॉर्चुनेट इंजरी बिकॉज मुझे लगता था ना पिसागाना के अंडर शायद ये कुछ करने वाला था मेरे को
correct,
सच्ची में
correct,
लग रहा था एंड Juan Rodriguez again another talent Shivam has spoken a lot about this very good talent it's a decent composition and I feel they could have as you said they could have been slightly higher than what they are so that is why I would give them a C or C plus maybe क्या
yeah.
बोलते हो आप
I think even maybe उनको C plus दूंगा.
fair Genoa and Lecce Lecce पे तो आएंगे but Genoa your legend De Rossi is coaching them and they
He's
just got
he's
a
he's kind of revived them, Param,
yeah
because Vieira ke under the Genoa would have been in the bottom three at this point of time. He has come,
absolutely
he brought in, a set of new ideas. You see them trying to play an exciting brand of football, जो league के लिए अच्छा है because you need young managers with new ideas
yeah
eventually coming in, and उस पे हमने एक mini revival of Lorenzo Colombo देखा हुआ है, Vitinha as well.
Hmm.
Frendrup has been good. Surprisingly, Ostigard, the centre back, has been getting a lot of goals
yeah
for
yeah
them. So I think their immediate worry has to be survival. Like I think that has to be there. You have Fiorentina picking up from below. अपन आएंगे Fiorentina में, but सबका नजर है will be on Fiorentina because if they go up, one of these guys will come down. So for Genoa, I think. उनके लिए भी इट्स अ वेरी मतलब मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूँ एक बहुत ही सिंपल चीज है जो उनका हेड टू हेड है जो 6 पॉइंटर्स हम लोग बोलते हैं फुटबॉल में दे नीड टू
Hmm.
एंश्योर दैट दे विन दैट एंड आई वुड लाइक टू सी अ लिटिल मोर defensive solidity from De Rossi, wherein if they take an early lead, they can hold on to the lead. Because often it happens, I've seen in some games where they score first and then they can't hold that momentum and then they concede. They make some silly errors and eventually don't get anything from the games. So ये एक है from my perspective, but overall I think under like you had the Vieira Genoa and then you had the De Rossi Genoa. So two different Genoas in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And देखो honestly, Vieira is a limited coach and their ownership. Look, अभी तो finally Dan Suchu आया है, नया owner है Romanian, but FFP के वजह से उनकी limited spending की वजह से they've not really been able to build that squad. Finally वो थोड़ा unlock हो रहा है इसलिए there has been talk of कि De Rossi को ये player शायद मिलेगा, वो player मिलेगा, and I hope he gets it because I feel if he does get a few more profiles, now I'm really intrigued to see what he can do with a mid-table club. Basically, that's always
Yeah,
been my
yeah,
position. Because अगर
yeah,
आप जानते हो, he's not been that long with a mid-table club in the
yeah,
Serie A, basically, and I really feel he can do better now, given what he did at Roma. So,
yeah,
as you said, Ostigard, I never felt he was a bad player. He was always a decent player. वो नापोली में वो जिस टाइम पे गया, नापोली के साथ आपको पता है क्या हुआ? That completely rocked him also. Aaron
yeah.
Martin, Chintan Bhai is a big fan. He's been decent. Friend
He's been very good. Yeah.
Colombo, your boy Colombo is doing well. I'm not a big fan, but he's doing well. Kudos to him. I did think they mishandled Valentin Carboni because Valentin Carboni is a good talent, and I'm not saying this because he is an Inter player, but they really mishandled him. Stanchu का loan वो एक गोल के बाद terminate होने वाला है, unfortunately ऐसा लग रहा है. But
Yeah.
overall, yeah, I mean, there is potential, and I really hope they kind of back De Rossi because they can do better. क्या grade दे रहे हो आप इनको?
I'll give them a C minus.
Yeah, same. I still think, yeah, I C minus is fair. भाई इधर तो मैं क्या ही ग्रेड दूं लेच्चे को. I like the club. I like the club, but the coach is dragging them down. What is this? Like, how are they 17? let me show you the team, yeah. This is not even that bad a team, yeah. Come on, like, okay, I understand maybe it's not the greatest team. मुझे समझता है, ठीक है, they lost Krstovic, but we are
They
not. We've
they
seen
also
them all.
sent back Kamada 2 days ago back to Milan.
They sent back Camarada. And look, honestly, we've seen them play Ajay. They're not 17th bad. Maybe 15, 14 because of you know who is the Voldemort of this league. But kya hai yaar? I'm lost for words with this guy. Like maybe now he'll go on and do something against Milan, which I don't think he will. But क्या बोलते हो आप लेच्चे के बारे में?
I think it's staring at relegation. I mean,
Yeah.
let's not kid ourselves. The coach's track record has been atrocious. Venezia, Frosinone, back-to-back seasons with relegation.
And I know it pains you to say that because of what he achieved. Like मैं अगर अपना
Yeah,
bias बाजू में रखूं
yeah,
एक मिनट के लिए.
yeah. I
What
mean,
he did.
like you mentioned, like you have Thiago Gabriel who's been really good for them. I've
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
always rated Falcone excellent goalkeeper. But you lose someone like a Krestovic who was very clutch for
Yeah.
them last season, scoring those goals and keeping them up in the league. So this season you've really not replaced him well. I know he's gotten Sotil and the other striker जो Krestovic के बदले में आया था. But yeah, man, I mean, क्या बोले इनका? They are staring at relegation. That's the reality of the situation, and they're not even like I don't know how they managed to draw to Juve, but then they would lose to one of their
Yeah.
other relegation
Exactly.
challengers.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
been very weird. It's a horrible. It's a very weird season for them.
Yeah, and look, maybe business wise again they could. And look, मैं जो हमारा game था उनका recent against us, they gave us a tough fight. This was one of our worst games of the season. I'll put my hands up and say they
Yeah.
gave us a fight, and Pio Esposito luckily scored the winner, but they gave us such a tough fight. So मैं वही बोलना चाहता हूँ, the squad is not that bad. Like again मैं जैसे आपने बोला, you highlighted Thiago Gabriel. I would say, as you said, Falcone, Gallo is a decent set player. Even
Yeah.
your this guy Kialonda Gaspar is decent. Like these are not, it's not a bad team that should be 17th in my opinion. Yes, Lecce का I think सबसे बड़ा mistake ऐसा क्लब होता है कि वो लोग कोचेस कुछ भी हायर करता है. अभी डी फ्रेंचेस्को के पहले आपको याद है ये था जियाम पाउलो था. सॉरी अपना ये था क्या बोलते हैं Gotti tha. They did not replace him in time. My bad. It's a decent team, and really, like even the Primavera level, they play a lot of foreign kids, and that's how they won the league once. Again, if you're playing them, you call them up ना. अगर है potential भाई करो कुछ तो उसके साथ. So it's confusing Ajay bhai. Like I really think they can do better. क्या grade दोगे? Because I'm a bit disappointed. I would give C minus.
D.
D. Ooh, first D in this video. First D. Interesting. My last three clubs, Ajay bhai, as we speak, Fiorentina is winning 2-0 against Bologna. Their arch rivals. Somehow they always find a way to beat Bologna. मतलब कैसे तो हो ही जाता है ये. क्या बोलोगे? Because I think let's give a grade first away. I think F.
Yeah, it has to be F. Yeah,
And this is with utmost respect to Rocco Camiso, who has passed away. Obviously, sad news.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with him. We are looking at the performances of the club. It was sad news, Ajay bhai. Any 2 cents you want to say about Rocco Camiso? Anything
So I
you
think
want to?
अपने off air discuss किया he won't be there to see the new Artemio Franchi जिसका भी redevelopment चल रहा है. But yeah, this season has been quite a disastrous one for them. Definitely not. They shouldn't be there. But now they've reinforced. They've brought in Brescianini. They've brought in Solomon, and abhi they've signed Jack Harrison as well. Moise Kane hai abhi bhi. You have Goodmanson, who's been I would say a bright spark in these dark times. I know you don't like Fagioli, but the Mandragora Fagioli pivot is working for them. थोड़ा दिख रहा है कि
don't worry, I found a new player to dislike in this team. You just named him.
I know. Of course. The Piccoli signing is a bit confusing, but
my God, scam. Yeah, I know, but scam.
आज तो गोल मारा है. बट परम वही है कि like अगर कोई नया लिसनर है जो शायद सेरिया फॉलो नहीं करता है, जो एक प्रीमियर लीग टीम को फॉलो करता है, फॉर एग्जांपल, इट इज जस्ट लाइक सेइंग I don't know, and Aston Villa fighting for relegation.
Yeah, my comparison was like Everton only because I'll tell you why. Because they've been in this relegation fight before also, if you remember. Jab pre 2020 they were 17, 16 when they had
Yeah,
Chiesa, Vlahovic, and just like Everton, they would find a way to survive. Basically,
yeah, yeah.
that's why that was my comparison way of looking at it. But
But
Aston Villa is more than player.
has to be F.
F because हमने अगेन आई थिंक इसके डिटेल रीजनिंग के लिए मैं ज्यादा फियोरेंटीना पे आज नहीं बात करूंगा ओनली बिकॉज हमने एक पूरा वीडियो मैंने कॉस्टुप के साथ फियोरेंटीना पे बनाया
Yes,
है
yes,
आई थिंक
yes.
दैट इज वन
Good
गुड वे टू
plugin.
एक्सप्लोर
Very good plugin. Very good plugin.
yeah like that's great way to explore ki kya exactly galat and again to give you context it was made before the passing of Camiso so if there are few criticisms here and there obviously do not take it in the wrong context because we purely talk about it from a professional standpoint because we know owners make mistakes we know coaches make mistakes so it was recorded way before Camiso's passing so please do take that into account basically it was recorded when they just lost 1-0 to Parma at home so yeah that's a while
Right,
back
right.
पॉइंट बीइंग अगेन अजय भाई these players right now अभी ठीक है बोलोनिया के अगेंस्ट जीत रहे बट you know the players have been the problem the coach Pioli set the worst record in Fiorentina's history in terms of a start the management was a problem now and हम जानते हैं हमने मैंने और कौस्तुभ ने जब ये वीडियो में बोला है Fiorentina unfortunately just gets rocked by off the pitch losses
Yeah,
इसके पहले कॉमिसो के पहले you had Joe Baron then you
yeah,
उसके पहले obviously years ago you had Astori so they just can't unfortunately catch a break right
yeah.
now the future of
I
the
think
club
that
is
Pioli hiring did not really work here. I mean,
yeah,
it was
it was an unnecessary trip down memory lane, which I was obviously wrong about. I thought it would work. I was
yeah,
completely wrong about. You know, happy to not happy in the sense, but kind of out there to admit it कि गलत तो था मैं उस चीज पे. And क्या ही बोले? Okay, they have had a few decent results off late, but F is the right grade. यार. Bad transfer business, everything. Tariq Lamptey, come on, here. You know he was injury prone. Why would you spend even 5 to 6 million on him?
yeah,
Caviglia was a Pioli signing, badly worked. Every Simon Som, Roberto Piccoli, Cagliari fooled them into saying 27 million का joke मारा उस पे, and they fell for a joke अजय भाई. Come on, like which club, which top division club falls for a joke? Like come on,
yeah,
it just
yeah,
sums up right. Everything. Dzeko is on his way out in Jan. So yeah, if I mean everything is wrong with Fiorentina, and right now they're winning and they may survive, but as of 18th January 2026, F is the appropriate grade.
yeah,
So
yeah.
let's move on to the last ones, Ajay. Bhai. Pisa and Hellas. Pisa, I mean, I think Ajay, Bhai, both of us have said the squad was not really there. To, it was more of a Serie B squad. Like they're trying. They've signed
I
Joao
agree.
Pedro. They've signed Joao Pedro. They've signed Loyola. Shivam loves the player. Like and he feels Loyola should have been playing for a better club. But they're trying. Like Gilardino is really trying. But आप देख रहे हो, they're also unable to get games over the line. Got robbed in a couple of games. One being against Fiorentina. क्या बोलते हो Pisa के बारे में? I really
मेरे
hope they
को
survive.
I,
But
I
this,
me too, me too. I personally I was expecting Gilardino to do better
yeah,
as a
yeah.
coach as well. But limited resources. I think the club off the pitch have been trying to back Gilardino and set a vision for the future. But unfortunately on the pitch है ना वो नहीं हो रहा है. And
Hmm.
it's I'm happy to see that in this game week they drew against Atlanta. They had chances to win it, Param. They should have
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They should
gone
have.
to win the game.
Yeah,
Uh,
they really went toe to toe with Atalanta. By the way, they
they
really did.
did they did. जब
Yeah,
ऐसा परफॉर्मेंस दिखता है तो लगता है भाई ये टीम शुड हैव बीन डूइंग बेटर. दे शुड हैव
exactly,
बीन मच हायर. बट
exactly.
नहीं
And
है.
the way they played against Inter also. I remember when we went
Yeah,
to the
very
this thing.
difficult, very
Very
difficult
good.
to beat
Yeah,
them at home.
Garibaldi. It was such an old school opponent, na. Jai, like Meister, typically Route One game, the Meister holding up the
Yeah,
ball.
yeah,
But as you said, क्वालिटी इज लैकिंग बिकॉज बहुत सेरिया भी प्लेयर्स रेटेड और सेरिया वाले क्वालिटी के थोड़े ज्यादा आए नहीं अनफॉर्चुनेटली लाइक अगेन इफ आई टू रेट द स्टैंड आउट प्लेयर आई वुड पर्सनली से इंटर्स अपना एबेनेजर अकिंसन मीरो जो नाइजीरिया के साथ एफकॉन में गया वेरी गुड टैलेंट है वेरी वेरी हियर ही इज सॉरी he's a fantastic talent and I really hope there is some space for him at Inter next season or maybe we just extend his contract and keep him like somehow and loan him because he before he went to the AFCON he was doing really well and maybe Nigeria should have considered sending him back because वो खेला नहीं AFCON में but that's another story but Cuadrado also was not doing bad before his injury Ajay bhai. Like it's
yeah. I
you can
mean,
see
they need to get someone or get an
yeah
attack get going so that they
and
can back some
funnily
goals.
funnily enough after the Arsenal game we host them and I'm pretty sure Joao Pedro will be ready to start और कल तो Joao Pedro वापस आने वाला है Joao Pedro
Uh,
so very
but क्या
intrigued but
grade
नहीं
देगा तो परम? क्या ग्रेड देगा इनको?
Because I do think Gilardino से मेरे थोड़े expectations थे, मैं पर उसको really blame कर सकता हूँ because Pisa का goal ही stability है अजय भाई, but it has come at a cost. This mentality of kind of being stable has come at a cost. So I'll give them a D. I'll give them a D because I expected more of them because they're a smart club. They have a good vision. They're not unrealistic, and that is why I expected them to be out of the relegation zone. So that's why I stand with a D. क्या बोलते हो?
D for me also. Double D's दे देंगे उनको.
And I really, on a closing note for Pisa, I really hope they somehow find a way to survive. I really
Yeah,
do.
me too.
Hellas Verona यार, क्या है?
चल स्ट्रीम बंद कर खत्म हो गया आज के लिए.
Abhijay, if you're watching, this is what they signed, okay? I have to start with Gagliardini. Akpa Pro, not a bad player. Musrati, Ajay Bhai, not a bad player. Gift Orban, ठीक है, I know he's very hot and cold. Bella ko chap. Belgali has been decent. You've watched Belgali play. Unai Nunez. This is not a team that should be 20th. I'm sorry.
No, 100%.
Giovanni, yeah, like this is not a team that should be 20th. क्या बोलते हो आप इसके season के बारे में?
Having predicted their downfall and somehow always they find a way to stay up. It looks like it's going to be yet another season जहाँ पे यही होने वाला है कि अब जो they're rock bottom of the Serie A table, if they manage to find a way out,
yeah, that would be typical Hellas.
Great escape. It would be a great escape because my God, this team has been awful. But Param, they should have beaten Napoli again.
Yeah,
Game
exactly. Yeah,
they should have beaten Napoli.
It feels like Hellas are doing what Sassuolo is used to do. Like almost in a way, like they beat Atalanta, they held Napoli. As you said, they were about to beat Napoli in that same game. They held Juve. ऐसा लग रहा है Sassuolo का काम part time Hellas ने ले लिया इस season.
Yeah.
But
but the reality is that they're facing a relegation from Serie A after a consistent spell here in the top division. If they manage to survive, great escape. But मेरे हिसाब से it's a clear F. Or if there's any grade lower, दे दे तू.
F, Z, जो भी देना है, only because, as you said, this is not like a relegation team. This is slightly better. Is it a top 10 team? No. Is it a top 15 team? Maybe not even that. But as you said, this is not like, considering, you remember when they signed players, जो हमने बोला था नहीं, लोग तो पक्का survive करेगा. Belgali has been so good. I know he went for the AFCON, but still, Algeria got knocked out a while back. Giovanni, I have my doubts for him. I don't think he's ready for a big club. Just he's constantly linked with Inter. I don't think he's ready for us. But he's been good for क्या बोलते हैं? He's been good for this team. Gift Orban has been good. Like Unai, these are decent players. So I don't think these guys should be 20th. So F is fair. Paolo Zanetti, I think, should have been sacked. With all due respect, I don't wish for anyone to lose their job.
It's still not late, Param. It's still not late. I think if they get someone who can keep them up, then they should go for it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think we've rated all 20 teams. Ajay, any closing thoughts as we give this? Anything?
I think अगर कोई viewer यहाँ तक पहुंचा है 1 hour 42 minutes, तो हम लोग सारे we are very thankful, बहुत शुक्रगुजार है कि आपने एक लीग जैसे Serie A, you sat through the entire thing, you got to hear about a lot of different stories. And this league itself is so interesting, Param. You see how tight it is. There is a proper Scudetto race. There's a proper Champions League के लिए race. European sports का race है. Relegation is interesting. तो ड्रामा है, इमोशन है, सब कुछ है. Unfortunately, marketing नहीं है जो हम लोग कर रहे हैं. Calcio चर्चा as Italian football fans, we're doing it. So I hope that come end of the season, Param, each one of us has a reason to be happy. I do hope that we have an exciting end to the season, like the exciting second half to the season. First half has been very good. It's been, like proper calcio, drama, emotion, blood, sweat, tears, sab kuch raha hai. I just hope that it can continue and, we have a great second half of the season.
I agree. I mean, you said it well. First half has been quite exciting. एक अच्छा title race मिला, एक अच्छा relegation race मिला. It's very competitive. Again, Serie A के बारे में बहुत lazy narratives होते हैं, boring है, slow है. And yes, everywhere around the world you'll find games that are not entertaining. Again, definition of entertainment is very subjective. So I would just say simply, आपको लीग देखना है, ट्यून इन करो. बहुत स्टोरी है, बहुत ड्रामा है. डजोन पे आता है सेरिया ऑफिशियली. आई नो इट्स अ बिट एक्सपेंसिव, बट अगर आप लेना चाहते हो तो डजोन पे है, नहीं तो थर्ड पार्टी स्ट्रीम्स एंड व्हाट नॉट. बट या यू कैन
Join
ज्वाइन
our
आवर
join our WhatsApp community.
community. Exactly. But नहीं यार, Serie A has a lot to offer. You know, there's a long season left. बहुत कुछ बचा है. Please do watch. Please do tune in and please do subscribe to Ajay Bhai's channel. Please do subscribe to Calcio Churcha. More content to keep coming. अब देख रहे हो videos आ रहे हैं. बहुत कुछ आने वाला है. Sorry this went on a bit long, but we wanted to do like a proper grading video to give a perspective of where every club stands. And yeah, we can only hope you guys keep supporting us. Thank you for all the support. We'll see you guys very soon. Ciao, ciao. See you in the next
Ciao,
stream.
ciao. Ciao, ciao.